Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ariel Helwani Show!
Back in your life! Much better on this Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you're doing well. It is great to be back here on a Two for Tuesday. You know, we play two around these parts on Tuesday. We got this show and then the Ariel Helwani program at 5 p.m. Eastern over on the DAZN channel. Do check us out there. Two great guests on that show later today. The Pride of Puerto Rico, the brand new champion, the youngest male champion in boxing right now, Xander Zayas, going to be joining us. Looking forward to that. Also, Skye Nicholson going to be joining us as well. Always love talking to her. And looking forward to talking to Xander for the first time and talking all things boxing with the one and only Ariel Helwani. That's at 5, but on today's program, much to discuss. Yesterday was a lot of fun. Renato Moicano was great. Enjoyed that conversation very much. All the guests were great. I felt like crap. I actually will humbly say that I think it was my worst show ever. In all my years of doing this program, dating back to June of 2009, when the show was first called what? What was it first called? What? Anyone?
Stuff.
Anyone? I feel like Rick knows the answer.
The MMA beat.
Serious?
No.
You know the answer, right? Anyone? No one knows the answer?
How long are we going to go
Rick.
with this?
Anyone?
Rick can't hear a word you're saying right now.
Anyone? What is it?
Jerry Park Live?
Fan House?
Close.
What was the question?
What was the
question?
first name
What was
for the
question?
MMA hour?
Fan House Radio.
No!
HBO documentary series.
Fight House Radio.
Fight House Radio.
Oh.
First 3 episodes. Then we got the notification that apparently there was a gym in New York City called Fight House, so we had to change it to
The
the
MMA
MMA
beat.
Hour. No, fucking hell. Great show though, the MMA beat. Should we bring it back?
Yeah.
It had a great little logo, great set as well. Love the set.
Fantastic set.
Anyway,
Guys, a D1
yeah, no, yeah.
Missed that floor.
Oh my God, the wood was phenomenal. Don't get me started on the wood.
Lighting.
So yesterday was great. I felt like crap, but it was still great. Happy to say, feel a little better today, and tomorrow we'll feel even better than that. We have a great show planned, though. A lot to get into. No time to waste. Back into the show. The GOAT is back. Yes, Artem Lobov is back, and he's fighting again for the first time in 7 years. He'll be fighting in MMA against his bitter rival, Zubaira Tukhugov. Remember their whole thing back in 2018? That was actually the last time that Artem fought that year, 2018. You know when? You'll love this, GC. Do you know what's the place where Artem last fought in MMA? Like which city?
Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City.
Close.
Des Moines, Iowa.
By the way, what about that Gene just hating all over Boardwalk Hall?
You were really trying to get him to compliment the city.
Yeah.
So we were there last year and we shit all over it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not a great spot. It's not a great spot.
Anyway, it was, I'm just confirming here, Moncton, New Brunswick. Artem Lobov versus Michael Johnson. Co-main event, UFC Fight Night 138. That was his last MMA fight.
UFC Fight Night Moncton?
Moncton, baby.
That's what we need more of. We
At
need
the
more
Moncton Event Center. And do you know how I have confirmed this, by the way? Do you have any idea how I confirmed it?
I do. I don't know if you want me to say it.
Because yesterday on the program, I was lamenting the fact that my favorite website, other than uncrowned.com, tapology.com, doesn't have a certain feature that I need in moments like this to confirm where Artem Lobov's last fight took place. I would have to go to Wikipedia or I have to go to SureDog. I want it all in one little neat package. And then my friend Gregory over at Tapology sent me an email and said, no, it's all there. You're just not looking in the right place. And I have to tell you, since then, my mind has been blown. It's like I got a new shiny toy. It's like I got a brand new car, a brand new home, a brand new kitchen. That's how I feel here. I can't stop playing with it because let me show you guys this. Tapology.com is the best MMA database there is. And dare I say, as far as combat sports concerned, BoxRec, not even close. Wikipedia, not even close. Whatever the one for wrestling is, I think it's like Cage match or something weird like that. Not even close. Take a look at this. We have done a screen record for all of you. Oh, yeah, don't go too fast. Oh, no, there it is. Can we just pause it for a second? I just want to set this up. If we can. Just like show me the first frame and then don't press play just yet. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is Anthony Hernandez's page, right? All right, so you see he's about to fight Roman Dolidze. That's this coming Saturday. You see the last fight against Brandon Allen, Michel Pereira. That's the page, right? You guys know it. So when I would want to learn more about these fights, all the way to the right is that plus sign next to the UFC. See all the way to the right? Okay, that wasn't giving me enough. Then I would look at the expand all details, which is right under MMA fight record to the left. That wasn't giving me enough. Oh, it was nice to have the little ribbon there for the performance bonuses, but I wasn't getting odds. I wasn't getting weight. I wasn't getting location. I wasn't getting any of these things. And then I was shown the light. If you click on odds, see there? Odds. Now you get the odds. Look, pause it right there. Minus 310, moderate favorite, going up against Roman. He was a minus 320 against Brandon Allen. He was a minus, I think that's a minus 135, going up against Pereira. Wow. Okay, now we want to know where are these fights happening. Remember yesterday, Tatsuro Taira. How many times has he fought at the Apex? All you do is now click on location. And all of a sudden, look, Vegas. See that? Under the American flag? All the way to the right next to the plus, UFC Apex. Go to the Allen fight. See that? Seattle, Washington. All the way to the right. Climate Pledge Arena. Go to the prayer fight. See that? Vegas. All the way to the right. Apex. Pereira fight. Supposed to be at the Sphere. The Dolidze fight. Supposed to be at Prudential.
This is Eric, Ariel's producer.
This is incredible. Oh, hi, Eric. I hear you. I was like, is Eric trying to tell me something? Then you click on weight. Oh, he's bounced around. So you click on weight, and it's all right there. You see that? 185, 185, 185, 185. Okay, no bouncing around, but you get the point. I was thinking of Bryan Battle when I was talking about the bouncing around because he's gone 170, 185. He's back. This is a game changer right here. Did you guys know about this? Why didn't anyone tell me about this?
I live on Tapology, and I didn't know this. It's truly incredible. Except for On Air Jordan played us with the, you guys didn't know this?
Yeah,
You guys didn't know this about Tapology?
I'm really shocked that you guys did not know this.
Yeah.
We've been using this for like 2 weeks.
No. I can't, all I'm doing now is just clicking through that thing over and over again. And by the way, the last one is opponent, which then tells you about the opponent. So like, I'm looking at Artem Lobov's page. His last fight was against Denis Branchik, who at the time was 33, from the Ukraine, 5'7", tells you that, like, this is unbelievable. This is a game changer right here.
It really is incredible.
So I'm very excited about this.
The GOAT.
I'm very excited. Anyway, so I wanted to apologize to them because I did not see this small detail, and I think you should all know about it because I think it will improve your user experience. And later in the program, we will talk about their new ranking system, which I'm very excited about as well. I think they're the best. It's a pleasure. And they're doing more boxing, and they have some bare knuckle and all that stuff. One-stop shop. Well done to our friends at Tapology. And by the way, we don't work with them. We have no investment in them. I'm just doing this because I want you all to know that I think that they are the best. So Artem Lobov will join us back into the show. Prior to that, we'll be joined by Bryan Battle, who is returning to action at UFC 319. That's the card in Chicago next weekend. United Center, headlined by Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev for the UFC middleweight title. He'll be going up against Nursulton Ruziboev of Uzbekistan, and he has been saying on social media that he's being flooded with hate from all the Uzbek fans. Bryan Battle's a great character. Unbeaten in his last 5, but moving up to 185 for this fight. You'll recall he had some trouble making weight in his last fight against Randy Brown. When I say trouble, he missed weight quite considerably, and so he is fighting at 185. We'll find out if he was forced to move up or if this is his new home. So we'll talk about that and so much more. But wanted to get to our first guest of the day, who I'm very excited to speak to because I have said time and again on this program, he is the very best at what he does in combat sports. He's the executive director of the California State Athletic Commission. And not only is he the very best at what he does in combat sports, he is also the most transparent. And it's very rare to be the best and the most transparent. Usually when you're the best, you're not as transparent or maybe even the least transparent. But to have someone in his position, by the way, he is also the chairman of the Rules Committee of the Association of Boxing Commissions. And right now, he is at the Association of Boxing Commissions annual conference with some exciting things happening over there. Usually, when you're in this type of position, you're the least transparent. That's what we are used to in combat sports. I lament the fact always that we can't hear from judges, we can't hear from referees. But to have this kind of access to essentially their boss when it comes to MMA and boxing in particular is a massive, massive privilege. And so without further ado, let's go all the way to New Orleans now, where the annual conference is taking place, and say hello to the California State Athletic Commission Executive Director, the one and only Andy Foster, kind enough to join us on this Tuesday afternoon. Hello, Andy. How are you?
Hi, Ariel. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure as always. And like I said, we don't take this for granted. Your transparency, your willingness to come on and talk about things, especially right now, there's some really interesting things going on. We very much appreciate. So thank you so much. And I know it's a busy day over there for you in New Orleans. By the way, for those that may not know, this annual conference, what are the type of things that you and your fellow commissioners and everyone involved in regulation as far as combat sports are concerned, what are the type of things that you guys cover, and how long does it last?
It lasts like 4 days, and then the training's another 3 days. So I guess it's almost like a week. But today they're talking a lot about concussions, and they're doing a lot of the medical stuff at the beginning of the day. We talked about drug testing this morning for a long, long time. But after lunch, we're getting into more of the rules type stuff. But the unified rules, this is where they're made or broke at this conference, and this is where they come. And we work on them all year and then bring them. And we've not really had a change. We don't really have a change this year, Ariel, but the scoring criteria is being updated and clarified. And that's sort of what I wanted to address with you.
Please. And so the floor is yours. This is, like I said, you're the chairman of the Rules Committee, so this would fall under your jurisdiction. What are the modifications that are being made to the scoring criteria?
So it's a slight modification. It's important for the public to understand to get a 10-8 in mixed martial arts is now going to require significant damage. I understand the way that it's being scored right now. The judges are already scoring that way, but this is actually going to be in if it's accepted by the body, and that's a relatively important change because it's going to actually put the word damage in the document. We've talked about it for a long time, but damage is the number one scoring criteria through effective striking and effective grappling. You've heard these other terms, effective aggressiveness, effective cage control. These things we never get to, Ariel. The public does not need to ever use the term effective aggressiveness or effective cage control really in the context of scoring. The only thing that matters is how the techniques through striking or grappling have impacted their opponent. That's the way this is scored. In a 10-9, we're putting out the language. A 10-8, we're putting out the language, and then a 10-7.
Okay. And this is actually a very interesting time for this to come up, I think, and I don't think it's happening because of this, but that fight that we had 2 weekends ago in Abu Dhabi, the Stephen Wen fight against Muhammad Yahya, I believe the first round was scored at 10-8. There was a record amount of knockdowns in that fight, and obviously an incredible amount of damage as well. Under these new, I don't want to say rules, but this clarification, this modification, should that have been scored, or will that be scored differently? Would that be perhaps even a 10-7?
Should have been a 10-7 under the current criteria. Okay. Like we're not really changing anything. But yes, it'll make it easier for the judge to understand what to score, and the hope is it'll be easier for the public and the commentators to understand.
What prompted this?
Well, I mean, this is something Jeff Mullen from Nevada has been interested in for a long time, and Jaron Vallell and the judges, Derek and Sal, have been trying to get this so that there's more clarity, more consistency on the way the judges are scoring. Now, the top level judges are scoring pretty consistent right now, but consistency is the key. In boxing, if you have a knockdown, you're almost always, that objective indicator that round's almost always a 10-8. Okay, that does not exist in mixed martial arts, and we can't provide that objective indicator. But having a document that says it requires significant damage to get a 10-8, that's probably as close as we're going to be able to get. The committee got together and we looked at all kind of things, but to have that as a requirement to get a 10-8, there, whether it be through cumulative or immediate, but the immediate having the more impact, I think that's important for the public to get, and that's the reason I wanted to convey that. I think it's a clarification, but I think it's more of like just makes it easier to understand.
For sure. And I think, correct me if you feel otherwise, it is a lot easier as a viewer, as a media member, to pinpoint a 10-8 in boxing as opposed to MMA. Hopefully modifications like this will help. Has there ever in recent years, months, etc., been any talk of a new scoring system for MMA that isn't the 10-point must system? Because as you know, that was always a boxing model first.
We have looked at all kind of things, Ariel, and this 10-point must system is what we have. It's what we have. It's what's codified. And this is the attempt to try to make it easier and better. But we're not moving to the half points, although we are putting close, moderate, decisive on our boxing scorecards. That came, and that may end up on the mixed martial arts scorecards as well. But it's still going to be a 10 and a 9. The winner gets 10 points. The loser gets 9 or less.
The three main criteria still are damage, dominance, and duration. Damage being the most important, right?
That's correct. And it's a requirement now for a 10-8 round.
Okay. What about a 10-10? Should we be seeing more of those?
No. Look, man, if you watch a fight for 5 minutes, Ariel,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't tell me who won that fight, and they're fighting in earnest, I'll find another judge.
Okay. What about in boxing? 3-minute round, sometimes for women's 2 minutes. Sometimes there's just not a lot of activity.
I need a winner picked.
You need a winner.
Somebody.
So you're not a fan of 10-10?
Well, it'll mess the scoring criteria. It'll mess the end result up because you need to pick a winner. And if people start putting down 10-10s, you're going to have lack of consistency in the scoring. Fighters should have some degree of consistency that if they win the round or they work real hard and try, they're going to get 10 points. The loser of that round is going to get 9 points. 10-10 rounds are important when it comes to like scoring partial rounds when no action occurred. These are when these things come into play. But if you have an entire 3 minutes in boxing or 5 minutes in mixed martial arts fought, you should be able to pick a winner if you're a discerning judge.
Okay, I bring that up because I remember first round of this recent Katie Taylor-Amanda Serrano fight at MSG. There wasn't a lot of activity, and some were wondering if that should have been a 10-10. By the way, one thing that I was always wanting to ask you about was, in MMA, the number of rounds, whether it's a championship fight or non-championship, is an odd number, right? 5 or 3. Boxing, it's typically 12, 10, and then we go down. But it's always an even number, which would increase the amount of draws, right? 5-5, 6-6, 4-4. Why is that? Why? I feel like in MMA, we are trying to we're trying to stop the amount of draws, but in boxing, that increases the amount potentially.
Yeah, that's I can't tell you historically why that's been done, but in boxing runs even, and MMA runs odd. Kickboxing runs odd a lot as well. So
makes more sense to be odd, no?
It does. I mean, if you want to avoid draws, but a 4-rounder, 12 minutes of fighting, and a regular MMA fight's 15 minutes of fighting. So I think there's some similarities there between the 4 and the 6 round in boxing. Whereas 25 minutes is a title fight in MMA versus the 36 minutes in boxing.
Mm-hmm. So going back to that fight last weekend in Abu Dhabi, you said that should have been a 10-7, but that's obviously an extreme, 5 knockdowns in one round. How can a judge discern the difference between a 10-8 and a 10-7?
Well, I mean, 10-7s are incredibly rare. Okay, but that was an incredibly rare fight, and I think there were 6 knockdowns. I think the counter got got that first one wrong.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Let's just go that there's 6 knockdowns in that round. Look, the first 3 knockdowns weren't that bad, Ariel. I mean, I'm not saying that they're great, but they were there. I think that 4th and 5th one, it was starting to get real concerning. Okay, and at that point, after you get 3 or 4 knockdowns, I think up to that point, the Khalil Roundtree fight with Eric Anders was the only time we'd had 4 knockdowns, if I recall correctly, in a round. Now we have like 6 real knockdowns. The counter missed one, so you have 6 knockdowns in a round. I think. Look, and I know you're showing the eye, but that was in round 2. I think in this particular round, the judges could have got to 7, probably after the end of that 5th or certainly that 6th knockdown. They should have got there. That's what I think, and hopefully this criteria will make that easier for them to get there.
I talked about this last week, and I prefaced it by saying that I think Jason Herzog is one of the best referees in the game. That was a tough night at the office for him, to put it mildly. Can I ask your opinion on it, and what should have happened? When should that fight have been stopped?
Well, I mean, I think I think that I would have probably hoped that fight would have been stopped after probably the 5th knockdown. Certainly, I would have had no issues after the 4th knockdown. But if you want to give the guy every opportunity after the 5th knockdown, if you're not going to stop it then, after the 6th knockdown, if you're going to try to use the clappers, which you shouldn't, and to make it to the end of the round, for goodness sakes, did you see? I don't know if you saw, but he had to have some assistance back to the corner. I think it should have been. There's a lot of places that it could have been stopped, but 2 places in particular. And then certainly you bring the doctor in, you have him looked at, and I don't believe that I would not have felt comfortable sending him out in California for the 2nd round.
Okay, that wasn't a fight in California, obviously, so not under your jurisdiction. But given your position in the sport, your stature, your relationship with Jason, do you speak to him after something like that?
I did.
Could you tell us about that?
I mean, look, Jason Herzog's one of the best referees in the world, so it's a little bit. It's a difficult conversation, Ariel. But look, man, I have to have those kind of conversations with anybody, even if it's Jason Herzog or whoever. And the hope is he can learn from this and not let this happen again. And I understand it's rough on Jason right now, but hopefully every referee in the country and every referee in the world will learn from this and not let this happen. I think 6 knockdowns and that's a little bit more than. Obviously, it's the quality of the knockdown, the whole thing. But when you're talking about boxing, we do 10-6s. It's allowed, but the only time that does not work out that much. What is it? Marquez Pacquiao won. I think that's the one. Round 1 that might have worked out then, but it doesn't work out that often. So I understand they're a little bit different of sports, and more knockdowns occur, but those 4, 5, and 6 were pretty significant knockdowns, and I would argue that with anyone.
Did he recognize that in the aftermath?
I think he did. I think he did. I think I'm not going to try to convey what he was thinking, but I think that he has looked at the fight, and I think he understands moving forward. And I have total confidence in Jason Herzog moving forward. He's on an upcoming fight in California that I have him on. And, I think that anytime you do this many fights and do all these things, everybody's entitled, or you can make mistakes from time to time. And I think that I have total confidence in him. We're going to continue to utilize him. And I don't believe Jason would make this mistake in the future. And I don't think probably a lot of the referees will make this mistake in the future. So we have to learn from these things.
2 things that were brought up in the aftermath of this was, number 1, should there be a 3 knockdown rule in MMA? What do you think of this?
No, I'm definitely in disagreement with that. like I said, the first 3 knockdowns were not what I would be calling significant. Okay. But now I think John Anik had mentioned a 5 knockdown rule. He said something about that, or at least I read that where I think. And I'm not in favor of that either, but like really in practicality, that's a pretty good number. That's a pretty good gauge. I think but you've got to look at, there's so many factors that are going into it. But if they're actually concussive knockdowns where you're getting hit, your brain's getting rattled and you're falling down. Look, man, it's not just Jason. We knocked Jason, the corner. There's a lot of things that could have went on here that didn't. And it's just the only thing to do from this is to learn from it. That's the thing, because Jason's a good referee, but Jason shouldn't take all this heat on himself. I mean, the corner could have stopped the fight.
Couldn't agree more. Why do you think there are way more corner stoppages in boxing than there are in MMA?
I have a personal opinion on that. I don't know this to be sure, but MMA is much younger of a sport. And I think that what I think is boxing's older, so you have a lot of the older guys who have saw more information, and they're much more wise and savvy to it. And so they'll save their fighter for another day or whatever. Whereas in MMA, a lot of these guys train together, or you train with them and you're tough and you can probably make it out. And I think that it's just not, it's kind of a different kind of a thing. But boxing trainers will stop fights quicker than mixed martial arts trainers, no doubt about it.
Do you think we'll ever see a time where there are more than 3 judges, ringside or cage side?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I'm not against that idea. I think that's possible, but that real estate ringside where the judges sit, it's pretty crowded when you're talking about TV fights and these type of things. So obviously, getting the score right's the most important thing for the fighter, but we'd have to work the logistics of that out.
So regarding this scoring criteria modification, what happens now? How do you pass this?
Well, I mean, it'll be presented today to the body, and then tomorrow it will go for a vote. And if it goes for a vote, it'll be accepted and put into the unified rules.
Okay, and so I would imagine you're pretty confident. This isn't a radical change. I remember last year there were 2 maybe, I don't want to say radical, but like big changes that were brought to a vote. One where the grounded opponent definition rule definition, I should say, and then the 12-6 elbow. Since it's been rolled out, we're about several months past, a year past. Do you think it's been executed correctly?
I do, and I think it worked out just fine. I think it worked out more than fine. In fact, like, think about over the last year and all the fights that you've saw and all the fights that I've saw, that game where the fighter would put their hand down and yank it back up. Have you noticed that game has by and large disappeared?
Yes, sir.
They're not playing that anymore.
Yeah.
Because you'll get kneed in the head or whatever. It's not great. So that's gone. And then the 12-6 elbow rule was that's just that never should have been, that didn't work anyway. So it's fine. It's like that wasn't even really a change. We just wrote it down, or took it away rather.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of other things, things that have come up very recently as well. There was in the main event of that Abu Dhabi card, Robert Whittaker against RDR. Robert Whittaker, is very close to finishing RDR. It appears, I think, in the 3rd round. And RDR very clearly is holding on to his gloves. Nothing really happens other than some conversation from the referee, but there's no, it's one of those things and here's some photos right here in the flow of the fight. I'm somewhat reminded of Lesnar Mir 1 with Steve Mazzagatti, where you have to make the call. Do you stop the action and penalize the fighter, or do you just kind of chalk it up to this is something that's happening in the flow of the fight? Should there have been a penalty there? Should that have been an infraction on RDR?
No, I agree with the way the referee handled that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, as you know, like, you get hit in the back of the head because the guy's moving. It's very clearly in the back of the head, but it's like, was it intentional? Was it not intentional? Was he, you know what I mean? It's sometimes hard to determine what exactly is a foul and what isn't.
Ariel, I think that any time you disrupt, I think there should be an effort not to disrupt the natural flow of the fight.
Okay.
The fight should try to come to its natural conclusion with as least referee involvement as possible. That's that. Now that we don't always get there, but the less the referee needs to be involved, I just want the fighters to basically figure out who's the better martial artist using the techniques that are allowed.
Okay. And so in that Derek Lewis versus Talcin Teixeira fight, did you see that one a couple of weeks ago? Because that was brought up in the aftermath of this Stephen Wen Muhammad Yahya fight, because Jason Herzog was the referee in that one, and that one ended what seemed to be quick, but then we saw that he was holding on, Teixeira was holding on to the cage, and so it was unclear, was the fight called off because it was viewed as the cage was helping him up? Do you know the fight I'm talking about?
I do know, but I have not asked Jason about that. I don't mean to go back, but to your point before, one of the techniques that the referees can often use is they can take a point, and if they need to take a point, now I'm not suggesting it was necessary in that situation, but they can take a point on the fly and just raise their hand, and the judges will get it, scoring table will get it, the public gets it, but there doesn't have to be you don't have to break the action up and take away the.
Wow.
And that's something that we're starting to teach more and more. John McCarthy and Herb and the guys are starting to.
I love that. I don't know if I've ever actually seen that.
Yeah, but you're going to see it soon. You see it in boxing quite often. You see it in bare knuckle. You're going to start to see it in mixed martial arts more.
Okay, interesting. What about that stoppage? What did you think of that one, the Teixeira Lewis one? Did you think that one was just?
I would need to watch that again. I've saw it, but I would need to watch that again. I would need to watch. I would need to watch it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
I often say that I feel like the first warning should be in the locker room, and then the moment there's an infraction, forget about the warning in the cage. There should be some sort of punishment. Is that too harsh?
Well, I mean, look, I don't know if you've been back with us, but I mean, you were at the fights the other day with Chavez and Jake Paul, and all the referees say, okay, your warning's right here. And they all say that. And then when you get out there, I can't remember any kind of infraction in that fight happened, maybe, but when they get out there, they still warn them again. It almost always happens. I've heard this, I've watched this hundreds of times. So I think it's the referee. I think, Ariel, I really think it's important if the state or the commission does not have to get involved in taking points from these fighters. Sometimes we do. Sometimes it happens. But if the fighters can just figure it out with the fight itself, under the rules, but the main thing is to make the level playing field. So if you have violations that are so egregious or impacting the other fighter's ability, then yes, you should take points. But I think that point deductions should be rare. That's my opinion, especially in a 30-point fight. Think about it. You take a point, you've essentially taken that round away from the fighter. Now they have to win the other two.
Right. A couple months ago when we found out that GFL's first event was going to be in California, it gave us some hope that this was going to take off because you were involved. In the end, never happened, and they seem to be dead on arrival. Can I ask about your experience dealing with that promotion and what ultimately led to them having to cancel those events in late May?
Well, I mean, I asked, we wanted to see certain financial things. And look, Ariel, I'm not going to go into a fight and not be sure that the fighters can be paid, or at least that's the hope. I mean, I've had it happen a few times where things didn't work out, but there were a lot of extenuating circumstances with that. But I'm not going to have a brand new promotion come into California with talking about major money that's way above what I would consider to be the market rate, and not try to put some checks and balances in. I think some of the fighters got frustrated with me for 30 minutes or so until they figured it out. But I think it's important to have the money in place if you're going to have a big show. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Yes, 100%. And obviously the event never came to fruition. You did introduce the MMA retirement fund in early 2024. Can I ask how that's going And have you seen any interest from other commissions wanting to do something similar?
Well, I've not saw the interest with the other commissions, but the fund's going well. And interestingly enough, we're really close to having the license plate up for sale. It got approved and by the Department of Motor Vehicles. So we've got the digital prints actually came back yesterday. So I'm working with Consumer Affairs to get all the ducks in a row, but we should be able to start taking pre-orders on that plate, which would go partially to the boxing pension fund and some to the MMA pension fund with the proceeds. So that's exciting for us. We're really excited about that because the idea is to have. I mean, look, we're doing the tickets, and so we're getting stuff. And look, Marco Antonio Barrera, I know that's a boxer, but he just made his claim. I believe that's who it was. He's got a nice payout coming from the state of California. But we're trying to do other things to try to make sure that these fighters have more at the end of this. That's the idea. Yeah. And California is uniquely positioned. We have 39 million cars. So the commission has decided to try this approach, and we're going to see if I can get 7,500 pre-orders, then the DMV will make it.
Love it. I know it's not necessarily your jurisdiction, but sort of along the same lines, this antitrust lawsuit that was settled recently, and the fighters getting some back pay, if you will. How do you feel about how all that played out?
I don't know enough about that one way or the other. I didn't read the complaints. I only read the news clips in that type of stuff. So I try to stay away from commenting on litigation or that type of thing.
Fair enough. I did hear you say recently that you think that if TKO gets involved in boxing, you think this would be great. Given their history, I would imagine, with UFC and WWE, the power players involved. Can I ask you to expand on that? Why do you think that this would be good? Because there are some people who are worried about this, modification to the Ali Act, that it could ultimately, you've heard, I'm sure, Oscar De La Hoya push back, Eddie Hearn has pushed back, other boxing promoters, Bob Arum as well. So when you say that, are you referring to that, or are you referring to just their history of being promoters?
I mean, look, anytime you get a big corporation that is well financed, it's got good broadcast deals and all that, that's good for fighters. I don't know exactly what is planned, but if TKO Boxing gets into the space, I expect there'll be a broadcast deal with that. I expect it'll be televised. I expect that it'll be good for American boxers, and I expect that it will make stars out of people that we ordinarily wouldn't have saw. At the same time, I think that the space is open, and I think that there's they've done such a good job, in my view. Look, go back to 2004 or 5. I forget when the Ultimate Fighter first came out. I'm talking about with Forrest and the late Stephan Bonner when they did their thing with, I think Chris was on the show, and go back to then and look how it's progressed.
For sure. And
if we can do even a fraction, 5% of that, they would greatly improve. But boxing's a worldwide sport, and they took MMA, which was thing, and they've made it a worldwide brand with their UFC brand. They've done very good with that, and I think that boxing will be benefited if they get in the space.
Do you have any reservations or not regarding the modifications they're trying to make to the Ali Act?
I've read the bill, of course, and I'll tell you this. I've wrote a lot of arbitration decisions for years in California, and a lot of times the Ali Act is cited by boxers that are making a lot of money, 7-figure boxers. This happens. This bill does something, Ariel, and I'm not sure you're aware of this, but there's a lot of boxers in this country that are not getting paid very much money. Mm-hmm. Okay. Bill sets a national minimum. This bill sets national minimum insurance requirements. This bill sets national minimum medical requirements. In my view, these are good things that will help low income boxers. The other side of it, that's business stuff that I don't want to comment too much on, other than the fact that I think the UFC has done a really good job, and I think if they get involved, they'll do a real good job in boxing. But things that are absolutely substantial to help every boxer in this country, at least on their debut, is you set minimums. And California, I'm proud to say, has the highest minimum in the country at $200 a round. And that was passed last year by the legislature. Governor Newsom signed it. And that's in place. But beyond that, there's only, I think, 5 or 6 other commissions that have a minimum, none of which is $150. So I think $600 for a 4-round fight being a minimum pay is, I think that's more than reasonable. I don't think that puts anybody out of business. And if it does, that's people should be able to make 150 a round or more on a professional boxing match, and they should be able to have some insurance if they get hurt. This should happen.
Okay. Appreciate that response. Do you have time for a couple more?
Sure.
Okay, so I know you're very busy over there. Speaking of the UFC, the last event in California, I think, was the one in January of this past year, right? 311. And there was a story that came out in the aftermath. Am I wrong about that? I think so, right? In Inglewood?
Well, I mean, it was the one where I forget his name, but he couldn't fight the week of the fight, and let's see,
Yeah, Armin Sarukian.
Yes, he couldn't fight the week of the fight. He was having back pain, I think.
Back pain, right? Because Dana White said in a press conference he missed weight and this caused like some sort of controversy. But I think he misspoke. I think he meant to say back pain, right? Your understanding was it was due to a back issue and he never actually made, or at least attempted to make weight.
Right. I don't think he ever. I mean, not that I know of. I think he hurt his back, but
Yeah.
I think that's right.
In the aftermath, Merab Dvalishvili, the bantamweight champion, talked about a story where he kind of hid a leg injury, where he showed the same leg twice. Do you remember this?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, we were very aware of that. Yes, we were absolutely aware of that. We had talked about this. I think Hunter or Mark, somebody called me about this way in advance, a long time, and says, "Hey, this is the thing," and said, "We're looking at it." I said, "Okay, I'll have the doctors take a look at it." Doctors knew about it going in, and we had conversations about this particular thing well in advance. So it's I don't know what to say about that other than just, we knew.
He thought he pulled a fast one on you guys. You're saying you were well aware and there was no fast one pulled.
Right. That's right. I mean, that's folklore.
Okay, fair enough. Have you had a power slap event yet in California? I'm not as up to speed. No? Are there any on the books?
No.
Do you plan on having one? Do you want to have one?
They've not asked.
Okay.
They've not asked to have one.
If they do, will you be open to it?
They have the provision for the one event.
Right.
They've not done it, but they can have an event in California. The commission approved it.
Have you been monitoring it? Do you feel comfortable still with having an event there?
I've watched it. I don't watch it much. I have my own stuff, own things in California to watch.
Right.
We have a lot of events. But I think Jeff in Nevada does it. The Nevada Commission does it. And so I know a lot of the officials that do it, but they've not approached me about having one yet.
Okay. I did see, courtesy of MMA Junkie, there's a new executive director of the ABC, Timothy Shipman of Florida, no longer Mike Mazzulli. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and let me tell you about that. I'm going to tell you about that, Ariel. Mike was termed out. Okay, I don't know if you remember, we put in term limits, 8-10 years ago, something like that. And so Mike couldn't run again. And I'm pretty sure Mike had the votes to change the bylaws if he had wanted to stay. But he came to me and he says, "You know what? I think I'm going to step away. I'll do the past president. I'll still help, but we're going to have somebody else do it." And you got to, credit to Mike Mazzulli for doing that, because he literally could have stayed if he'd wanted to, but he didn't. And I made the motion to have Tim Shipman do it, and he accepted, and everybody voted for. I mean, he doesn't have any opposition.
Okay, amazing. Well, good
Very
on Mike.
excited for Tim Shipman. Congratulations, Tim Shipman.
Yes, of course. One last one I wanted to ask you about. There was a PFL card in New Jersey this past week, Friday night to be exact. There was a submission that went on a little bit too long. Are you familiar with this fight?
Yes.
Do you want us to show it? I just wanted to ask you if like, I know you do these Zoom calls with the referees and the officials, and you guys, you're very good at, going over things, and I wish more commissions would do this, but I just wanted to know, could the referee in question have done anything differently? Because it was very clear that the fighter who was out, Nathan Kelly, was out long before the fight was stopped.
I think he tapped.
Yes, that's what the broadcast said. You don't actually see it in this angle, but they showed it afterwards.
Well, you need to be in the right position. I'm not trying to play second guess to the referee, but I would be in the position where the offense is happening so you can see where the choke is applied. Does that make sense?
Sure. So it's just an out of position situation.
I mean, yeah. I think that the guy, I think for everybody I've talked to, he tapped.
Yes.
And I think that you have to make sure these are all learning things, and I don't know that referee, but I bet that referee doesn't let that happen again.
Yeah. It's tough. I think MMA officials have the toughest job in sports. There's a lot of quick calls that have to make some subjective. And so I'm not trying to play Monday morning quarterback here, but obviously there's people's, lives and health at stake.
Ariel, it is hard. I'll just leave you with this. It is hard refereeing and judging mixed martial arts. I mean, Derek and Sal do this every week, and it's a lot of pressure on those guys to get the scores right. And I mean, I don't know how many fights that they've done. And look, John stepped away. Herb does it all the time. Jason does it all the time. Mike Beltran does it all the time. These are guys who are just doing it all the time. But it's a really dynamic sport.
Yeah.
With a lot of things that can happen. And it's 5 minutes with no objective criteria like in boxing. I think these guys do a good job regulating this. And every now and then they make a mistake, and we try to help them along, and some mistakes are bigger than others. But by and large, the guys that do it all the time that you see every week in Nevada, every week, wherever you're seeing them, those guys are doing a good job.
I agree. We scrutinize and pinpoint, one, but when you think about it's one among 100, over the course of, I don't know, a month of the major events, it's a pretty good ratio. Last thing, so you're doing this modification. You talked to us about how it's going to go through the vote tomorrow and whatnot. What's the next thing you'd like to introduce or modify? What's next on the rules agenda, so to speak?
Well, I want to take a step back from doing any type of rule changes. And I know that shouldn't be like a change, but I do not want any further changes for a while.
Oh. And
until we get something that's just very obvious, like the grounded fighter thing, that was a long time coming. The 12-6 elbow, that should have been gone a long time ago. But when we talk about things that we are wanting to do with the sport of mixed martial arts, I would like to see even more of the high level guys start to do the teaching. For example, for a long time we've had the referees do a lot of the judging classes and all this, and I would like to see some of the judges step up and actually start teaching some of the other judges, because this is a different kind of skill. John McCarthy can do both, of course, but and some of them can do both, but I think that everybody has skill sets, and they're different skill sets, and I think it's important. That's one thing that I would like to see done.
Love these chats, Andy. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the time, appreciate the candor and the transparency. Keep up the great work, and good luck out there in New Orleans.
Thank you, Ariel.
All right, there he is, the executive director of the California State Athletic Commission, also chairman of the Rules Committee of the Association of Boxing Commissions. Always great to talk to Andy Foster. So there you have it. Damage, dominance, duration, some clarification to what should be a 10-8 round, a 10-7 round. Not a fan of the 10-10s. Not a lot of people are. I know our friend Casey Leiden is always a big proponent of the of the 10-10s. But interesting to hear his thoughts. Certainly after that controversial fight in Abu Dhabi, I still think the gloves, the holding, it's tough. It's a tough one. But what about that little nugget there? He wants to see more, and he says that we will see more point deductions, but point deductions that will not stop the flow of the fight. I think that's incredible. Now, sometimes someone gets hit below the belt, the fight's just going to stop naturally, poked in the eye naturally. But if something's happening in the flow, we're just going to lift up a finger and we'll keep going. So maybe Lesnar Mir, the fight keeps going, was to the back of the head. Anyway, that's interesting. Haven't seen that in boxing, to be honest. But he says we're going to see more of it in MMA and boxing. So look out for that. Appreciate him very much and appreciate him coming on. All right, now let's talk to our next guest. He returns to action next weekend, UFC 319, Chicago, Illinois, United Center, Duplessis, Shamaev, middleweight fight. It's a middleweight showcase. Last show, yesterday, we had Michael Venom Page on, staying at middleweight, choosing to go back-to-back, fought Shara Bullet at 185 in Saudi Arabia, is sticking around at 185 to fight Jared Cannonier. Well, our next guest is moving up to 185, unbeaten in his last 5, but has decided to have his next fight at 185. Is it because of what happened prior to his last fight against Randy Brown? Let us find out. Here he is, the butcher himself, Bryan Battle, kind enough to join us. Hello, Bryan. How are you?
I'm doing well, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Great to have you back on. Appreciate it very much. Your big fight coming up in some 11 days or so, and it's at 185, not 170, where you've had great success as of late. But obviously, we know about the mishap on the scales before the Randy Brown fight. Why is this fight at middleweight?
I mean, the biggest thing was I really wanted to fight. I'd love to go back down to welterweight. I feel like I have unfinished business down there, but I'm a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So when this opportunity popped up, I just took it. You know what I mean? Was
this their idea? Like, did they come to you with a middleweight fight and that led to your decision? In other words, were you planning on sticking around at 170 before this was brought to you?
Yeah, no, I was definitely trying to stay at welterweight, but once again, I train to fight people, so whether it's 170, 185, what I'm saying, weight is weight. What I'm saying, let's get in there and make it happen.
If you look great, feel great in this fight, any chance you stay at 185?
Maybe. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I'm not opposed to it.
But you prefer 170?
It's just tough because it's like you said, I mean, I've had all these fights at 170. There's definitely people I've been looking forward to fighting one day. So I have no problem with staying at 180, 185, but there is I do feel like there's unfinished business at 170. So I'm not too pressed either way. You know what I mean? If I get more opportunities at 185, then I'll take those opportunities at 185. But if I get to go back to 170, I'll do that in a heartbeat.
Isn't life so much more enjoyable? And I would imagine next week even more enjoyable. You don't have to cut that extra weight.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes that uncomfortable life, that pain, that suffering makes it even more enjoyable at the end of it. But now, with that being said, it has undoubtedly been like a fight camp where it's just easy to focus on the fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be super stressed about doing this, that, and the other, doing things just for the sake of losing weight, So on that hand, it is kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? It has been kind of nice. But like I said, I mean, there's just people I want to fight at welterweight, man. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's comfortable or not comfortable, if I get the opportunity to go back, I'll go back. But, with that being said, it has been kind of nice. So, I'm not opposed to staying up here either.
8 months between fights. Why?
That's just when I got offered the fight, man. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to go earlier. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to fight a lot earlier, but, you just got to take opportunities when they come. And so this was an opportunity that popped up. It took a little bit longer to get there, but we're here now, so I'm going to make the most of it.
Has that been frustrating? You say you're ready to go, and this will be the longest layoff of your UFC run.
Of course, there's frustrating moments to it, but, on the bright side, it's just giving me that much more time to grow and fill in gaps. You know what I'm saying? It's giving me that much more time to, check my resolve. I feel like I'm a better fighter regardless. So, yeah, of course, it's always frustrating. This is how we get paid. But in the larger scheme of things, I believe this will work out in my favor.
All right, so your opponent is from Uzbekistan. Are you getting a lot of hate from the Uzbek from Nursultan's army? What's going on?
Oh my goodness,
What's
man!
happening?
It'll be like every time I get on Instagram, there's 100 new comments, but probably more. It's just I think that's as many as Instagram can let me know there is at any given time. But now it'd be like one dude leaving 20 comments. You know what I'm saying? Just like the Uzbekistan flag. These there's a lot of guys with like no life out there in Uzbekistan, I guess, man. You know what I'm saying? Just
What are
got
they
nothing
saying?
to
What are they
do.
saying?
Well, one, Instagram can't translate their language.
Oh, damn.
So, I don't know what they're saying, dude. If they say something in their language, Instagram can't. I try to keep on hitting the translate, and Instagram can't translate their language. So there's a lot of flags, a lot of gifts of Nursulton, and like a bunch of words I can't get translated. So I have no idea what anyone's saying for real, for real.
Well, this is helping out your engagement. Maybe this is good for you.
Well, that's not true, brother. I got the way I look at it is I got a bunch of new fans. You know what I'm saying? All those guys are my fans. They're taking time out of their day to leave comments under my post. They're my fans, man. You know what I'm saying? Boosting my activity and whatnot.
And so, did you say anything about Uzbekistan or about Nursultan to prompt all of this?
Dude, I don't think I did, but maybe I did. You know what I'm saying? You do so many podcasts. I know there was one interview I did that once again I keep on getting tagged and it's a person talking in like Uzbekistan or whatever you call the language. And I don't know what they're saying, but I know it made a lot of people mad.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean? I don't remember. I felt like I was pretty cordial. You know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy. Like, yeah, I'm gonna win the fight, but I didn't go out of my way to say anything nasty or anything like that. But
But yo, we saw you cut that mad promo on the French people. Might as well just go full heel and cut a promo on the Uzbeks.
Man, I might.
You got something? You got something for us? What do you know about Uzbekistan?
I know I'm about to whoop up on their boy. That's what I know for right now. That's what I know for sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to fight a dude from Uzbekistan. I'm about to beat better beat him up. That's what I know right now. But besides that, you know what I'm saying? They got loyal fans. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the population is. I don't know hardly nothing about Uzbekistan, to be honest. But they sure know a lot about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're my new fans. So I'll be the king of Uzbekistan. It'll be okay. You know what I'm saying?
What about Nursultan?
I'll represent them after I whoop Nursultan. It'll be okay.
You'll take their flag. I like that.
I'll take their flag. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you know about Nursultan when you were offered him? He's been in the game for a while, 36-9-2.
Really, the biggest thing I remembered about him was his fight with Joaquin.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I knew he was a big dude. You know what I'm saying? Big guy. Kind of ugly looking. You know what I mean? Aggressive. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to get in there with him. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you have something to prove in this fight after the whole Randy Brown situation, from the weight to the scoring to everything?
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm not proving too much with the weight in this fight. You know what I'm saying? But I go out there, be professional.
Yeah.
Weight. You know what I'm saying? So from that end, sure.
But I just mean, like, because I felt like there was a bit of a bullseye on you in the aftermath of that, because you missed weight, because of the controversy, if you will, surrounding the scoring. So you go in there, you make the weight, you do something spectacular. Now everyone's back to loving you again.
Nah, I mean, like, I can't lie. If you're saying, do I feel like I got something to prove? A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. But, at the same time, I'm not going out and doing anything extra. I'm just being me. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I go out and fight, I'm not looking for anything out of the ordinary to me. Like, that, if something spectacular happens, that's just average butcher activity. You know what I'm saying? So, do I got something to prove? For sure. But, I'm just gonna go out there and do what I do regardless. You know what I'm saying? You look at most of my fights. You know what I'm saying? If I have a good dance partner, you know what I'm saying, the fight's crazy. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win regardless, always. So whatever it takes to win, that's what I'm gonna do.
I know it's happening in mid-August, but are you hoping for at least 2 this year? What's the plan? You were so active last year. Are you hoping to make up for lost time?
Well, I mean, that's what when people ask me if I'm gonna stay at 185, probably at least for one more this year because I do want to fight one more time this year. So, uh, from that optic, it kind of does make more sense to stay at 185. But I would like to get one more before the end of the year, ideally. You know what I'm saying? And maybe be a little bit more active next year. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how things play out. But at the moment, I mean, August 16th is all I'm worried about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't be worried about October, November, December until I get through August 1st. You know what I mean?
I got you. I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? I know you know what I'm saying,
I know what
baby.
you're saying. I know
you know what I'm saying, baby.
Has anyone ever told you say that a lot?
Come on, man.
I don't know.
And they put it on the T-shirt, dog. Everybody tells me I say it a lot, and it's bad because it's almost like the more they tell me, the more I can't. It's like subconsciously being like wired into my brain. I hate it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it anymore. I can't stop saying it though.
It's all right. It's your gimmick. Everyone needs a gimmick. This is your gimmick.
Nah, man, that's not my gimmick, man. My gimmick's the butcher, dog.
Okay, my bad. I saw you were at WrestleMania, right?
Hell yeah, man.
You were rocking the WrestleMania 2000 shirt.
Both nights of WrestleMania and the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. That shit was fire.
Sick. Did you get tickets from TKO?
Nah.
You got your own ticket. What do you mean? You're one of them. You work for the company.
It was it was like a last minute decision, but it was funny because you get a little couple Jack and Cokes and you start telling the people who are sitting around you you're a UFC fighter or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're showing all these other UFC fighters on the screen. And then, like, the people are looking at you like, why aren't you on the screen? You're like, damn, I bought my own tickets, people. But, maybe next year. You know what I mean? Me and my boy, Ryder, we're trying to go to the Big Four.
Oh, hell yeah. I was at SummerSlam night 1 on Saturday. Did you watch?
Yeah, night one was the better night.
Seth showed up?
Yeah.
Were you surprised or did you know? Did you read the dirt sheets?
Dude, I didn't even read the dirt sheets. As soon as I saw CM Punk become the number 1 contender, I was like, man, that'd be crazy. Seth said he wasn't gonna let him get the belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can't lie, when he came out, and he had the crutches on, I was like, okay, all right, maybe it was genuine. Then he started walking away, and the way it wasn't just that he threw the crutches down, it was the way that he threw the crutches down. It was so dramatic. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was iconic, dude. I've watched him probably drop the crutches and run into the ring at least 5 times, maybe more. You know what I'm saying?
He's so good. I saw some people. Some people just, they can't enjoy it. They can't suspend disbelief. They're like, oh, CM Punk, he's such an idiot. Why did he stand there? Why didn't he just run out of the ring with the belt?
Like, that's not what you do, man.
Yeah. You fight. You defend.
That's not story. You know what I'm saying? That's not captivating. You know, CM Punk is not a coward. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, that shit was fire. You know what I mean?
What do you think of Brock coming back?
So I'm kind of curious about that. You know what I mean? I'm kind of I haven't heard anything else. I didn't think they would bring him back while the lawsuit was still happening. But like me personally, I don't got any problems with Brock Lesnar. You know what I'm saying? I just very curious to. But the WWE's not unused to doing controversial things. So I'm not gonna spend too much time thinking about it. And
what about them? What about them reversing course on the Cena heel turn? Like, they pretty much pulled the plug on it.
Yeah, without Cody Rhodes turning heel, that was kind of
that
was interesting. But I think it's just people. I think they kind of messed up with Cena's heel turn. You know what I'm saying? They gave him it was awful. That was kind of disingenuous, and everyone kind of new, it's disingenuous. Like he can be a heel and still have fucking energy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he had like energy to be a heel. You know, so I think he was just like, hey, you know, I'm gonna have fun for the last this heel turn probably wasn't. He probably was thinking he was gonna have fun turning heel, and then wasn't having fun because he was having to be this character that he clearly isn't. You know what I mean? He was like, yo, it's the last couple months. I want to have fun. I want to have fun with this shit. So.
By the way, speaking of fun, you know which match I loved? I loved Jelly Roll. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. He took his bumps.
Yes.
Like, Logan Paul sold his ass off, dude.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Every time Jelly Roller hit him, you thought he got hit by a fucking bat. Like,
Logan was great.
That one wasn't bad at all. I wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Night one hit. I feel like every match night one kind of delivered. It was night two that was kind of like, you know what I mean?
How do you feel about the 2 nights for SummerSlam?
Man, do it every time.
You don't mind. You'll watch it. Are you watching everything? Are you watching all the PLEs, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, everything?
I don't watch NXT.
Okay.
You know, there's a certain and SmackDown, like the PLEs. All the PLEs getting watched. Like Saturday Night Main Events, all that shit's getting watched.
Okay.
Monday Night Raw is getting watched every week. SmackDown is if I got time. You know what I'm saying? SmackDown. The weekend tends to get kind of crazy, so I might have to watch just a little recap.
Yeah.
I try to stay informed on what happened, whether I watch it or not. NXT. I wish I could. I feel like a lot of cool stuff happens in NXT, but I just don't. I can't. I don't have the time. You know what I mean?
What about AEW?
AEW is another one. I kind of wish.
Yeah, it's just
I
a lot.
get into AEW. It's just and there's a lot going on in AEW. You know what I'm saying? They got like a shit ton of belts. You know what I mean? They got stories. They got the cross promotion. You know what I'm saying? They got all the belts represented in there. It's a lot going on in AEW. But I would love to get into AEW. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they really have the best wrestling. But you know.
Okay, one more. What do you think of Unreal? Have you watched that on Netflix?
Not yet, but I'm going to.
It's great.
Is it fire?
I loved it.
Okay.
All these, some of these like OG guys are mad about it because they say like it exposes the business and all this nonsense. It really doesn't. It almost just explains the business to people. And for like hardcore fans like you and I, it's fun because it's a little peek behind the curtain. It's a little more than we usually get. But I think some of it is a work in that they're talking in front of the cameras and then the real shit is happening off camera. You hardly see people go like, all right, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like you're not getting the true exposing of the business, but it is showing to the casuals who these people are outside of TV, behind the scenes. And I think it's only going to make them into bigger stars and make people more emotionally invested in them. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I mean, what I say is what I became as an adult when I was able to get back into wrestling was when I watched a bio documentary, it was like a docu-series on the Montreal Screwjob.
Oh,
had, like,
Wrestling with Shadows? Wrestling with Shadows.
It might have been Wrestling with
It's
Shadows.
the greatest doc ever.
Yeah, it was an older one?
Yeah, from the 90s,
Yeah,
about Bret Hart and
okay.
everything. Yeah, it was incredible.
Yes, okay. I watched that, and wrestling became more real to me after watching that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like even though it kind of like had more of the backscene stuff in it, it helped you appreciate what was real, what isn't real. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, this shit, there's more to it than meets the eye. You know what I mean? So that's actually, I think, showing just a little bit, not too much of the behind the scenes, but a little bit of behind the scenes can kind of like you say for someone who's like, oh, well, it's fake. You know what I'm saying? Kind of give them an idea of like, well, it's a little fake, but it's not all the way fake. You know what I'm saying? Just help you appreciate the game. You know what I mean?
Yes, and the game, Triple H. By the way, did you ever consider trying out for pro wrestling?
Nah, I never not seriously, but hey, Triple H,
Yo,
Mr. Paul. Hey,
Trip.
if you ever need big trips,
Yeah.
hey, baby, you know what I'm saying? If you ever need the butcher to come, kill somebody, I'm in it for it. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I'll be a referee.
Nah, we need you.
I'll come and be security. I'll be security. You know what I mean? Like
Run down to the ring, break up a fight.
You know, hey, you got to get your toes wet somehow. You know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting to come in like Ronda. You know what I mean? I got to come in and be a superstar off the rip. I'll climb up. I'll climb up the ranks.
I feel that, but I need UFC 319 if all goes your way. Like, can we get an old school Butcher promo? Like, I need that Paris vibe. Like that was unmatched. It's still one of the greatest post fight promos of all time. We need that back. We need that energy back.
A magician can't like reveal his tricks, man. I can't.
No, I'm not asking you to reveal, but can you just like, can you have something in your back pocket?
Nah, I got something in my back pocket.
All right. You start talking and use
I got something in my back pocket, man. Hell yeah. No, I'm yeah, we're gonna win this fight emphatically. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna pop off in every way. You know what I'm saying? We got to remind people what's up.
All right. And by the way, shout out to the Fight Degenerate podcast. What's going on over there?
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
We're actually, because just life's been crazy. I had to move, but my boy Ryder, he's out here in North Carolina. He's gonna quarter me for this fight. So we're actually getting ready to go record another episode later this week. So we'll be back on top of it, getting episodes out. Appreciate the love on that.
Yeah,
big dog.
for sure. And your boy Ode Osborne got a fight this weekend.
Yeah, my man Ode. Oh my God, dude. Ode, me and Ode. Last time I saw Ode, we went and did a wine podcast.
I saw that in Napa Valley, right?
Yeah, Napa Valley, man. I drank a lot of wine before that podcast. Holy shit. I remember I was out there for probably like 48 hours. I think I remember maybe like 12, 16 hours of that trip. Like, holy, wine is a trip, dog. You know what I'm saying? You can't sleep on that wine. That wine will have you fucked up.
Red or white? Or both?
All the above.
Okay. Amazing.
Yes, the answer is yes.
You're the man, Bryan. Good luck next week. Looking forward to it. Welcome back. And thanks as always for the time. Always great to have you on.
Hey, we're going to have to do this after I win so I can chug some more out liquor on your show.
No problem. It's a date. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to it. There he is, Bryan Battle, returning to action. UFC 319 on the 16th of August. Frank, I think we might have a new drop contender there. That laugh, he sounds like Count Dracula.
It's a beautiful laugh.
It's incredible. Oh, I can't do anything close to that. That is something.
I'm watching a lot of vampire movies lately. Sounds like Count Dracula.
What is it? Hotel Transylvania.
Oh, that's a solid one.
I saw a thing on Instagram. They're just listening to us. They said Big Daddy 2 is coming out next year, and then I did a deep dive and I found that it was fake.
Who's they?
I don't know.
Like
some
the algorithm?
post that had like 8. Oh yeah. Oh, they're all listening to us. You don't think so?
I do think so. I'm just wondering who you perceive as they. Like who is the big they? Big Brother.
Big Tech.
Just a general.
Big Tech.
All of them.
Big Tech. Oh, you sound like him now. What was that laugh? That laugh is incredible.
Me and Bryan Battle.
I always find it crazy when the UFC fighters are such big WWE fans. There's like something endearing about it. I don't know. I like it. It's fun, but it's like
why? I feel like that's in line. No, like so many of them care about the promo aspect, the showmanship. Bryan, obviously, that incredible promo could come from no other place but that. I feel.
Yeah. No, I think it's fun. But they should show him love and get him some damn tickets.
I mean, DC, you know,
of course. DC. When I was driving home after the event on Saturday, he was like, "Oh my God, Seth Rollins!" Because there's that famous video. Remember?
Of him
DC going crazy.
Out. Yeah.
When he cashed in 2015. And I was kind of out at that point.
Wait, so this was like similar to that?
This was literally 10 years later. The same thing, yeah.
Yeah, he cashes it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together on that.
Yes, he's the one. He kind of made the Money in the Bank into a thing.
All right, chill out. There was Money in the Bank.
No. Like, it was like, wow.
Nah.
He did it on the grandest stage
There were
at
people
WrestleMania.
carrying that suitcase around for like years.
Who was the first person to cash in the Money in the...
You think he was the first one?
The first one to like make it famous.
Nah, bro.
On that kind of stage?
Yeah, maybe on that stage.
Okay,
but there's been people who cashed them in.
Okay,
Yeah, come on, bro.
Edge.
Yo, do you know about pro wrestling? What's wrong with you,
No, wait. Edge cashed in immediately after. Yeah.
Let me put you on game. Let me educate you about
why did it feel so big when Seth did it? Maybe it was
because it was definitely the biggest like before that, I don't even know who it was. I know Dolph Ziggler was carrying it around forever and stuff like that. Yeah. Nobody had cashed it in on at that scale. That part you're right about. Nobody did it that big like Seth did it.
Jeez, Jack Swagger, 2010. Jeez.
Yeah, come on.
Punk 2009. Gosh, I was kind of out at this point.
You're bugging.
I was. You were going to NXT events, and I was like making fun of you.
Listen, man.
You remember that?
Listen.
Do you remember that?
I'm early. Of course, I remember that.
Edge 2007. Holy shit.
Yeah, you were off on the timeline.
Yeah, I was off. My bad.
It was a big moment though.
Okay,
and you had another one.
Okay, to my credit,
yeah,
I'm looking at. Wait. Okay, to my credit, WWE.com ranked the greatest cash-ins of all time.
Oh, it's got to be number one.
What's number one?
Yeah.
So why? So it's Seth, 2015. So that was my mistake. But why is that number one? The first cash-in to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah, big. It was big.
The first cash-in to happen in the main event of WrestleMania.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it was
the first cash-in to happen. Yeah, that's I'm reading how they wrote it. First cash-in to happen in the middle of any match. Big.
Oh, now that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Heist of the century.
It happened in the middle before they even rang the bell.
Yes.
Oh, now that's
kind of cool. That's kind of
that's
cool.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Shout out Seth Rollins.
Yeah, he's the man.
Is he technically Mr. Money in the Bank? Like because of this, like he's the forever Money in the Bank guy? Like
no, but I think he has the two probably
he's
most
got the two biggest ones.
Yeah, at this point.
Impressive by Seth.
Well, there you have it. All right, some things to get to here. Is PT there?
I am, yeah.
Oh, hey, PT.
How are you, boys?
How are you?
That was a great chat you had about Money in the Bank there.
Yeah,
riveting stuff.
You enjoyed it?
You don't like that?
You didn't watch SummerSlam, PT?
I watched SummerSlam, GC, as you know, and
no, I didn't know.
Money in the Bank hit me in a way that other things haven't. So I mean, I think you're right about Seth Rollins. I completely agree.
All right, thank you, appreciate that. PT,
wrestling.
While we have you, the GOAT Artem Lobov coming up in some 50 minutes. How do you feel about this? The return, and not just the return, but against Zubaira of all people.
Like, I am shocked. I may have been privy to this information a few days ago, and I was like, you know, I expected Artem to be done after that. He had that bare knuckle fight with the Olympic boxer. Yeah, serious silver medalist Baranchik was, and he fought him in Russia. And every time I saw Artem, I always thought he was done. You know, he didn't really want to. He never really made those kind of sounds. Yet every time he'd been interviewed since 2018, he had always said, I believe he said to you many times, like he would come back if Zubaira took Hugoff, if that fight presented itself
for free.
Yeah, he has said that many times. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? A lot of people, obviously, that situation stems right back to the Khabib and Conor situation, which we remember Dana White described as the darkest situation that ever occurred in MMA. That, of course, in April when McGregor attacked a bus full of people after Artem got into a situation with Khabib and his teammates. They're later booked Artem v. Zubaira are then booked for a fight in October, late October 27th, I believe it was, 2018. Conor fights Khabib early October, correct me if I'm wrong, October 7th for UFC 229, Ariel?
Yeah, 7th, 8th, something like that, yep.
So they fight. Zubaira, Khabib wins the fight. Khabib scales the fence. Next of all, Nurmagomedovs are in the cage attacking McGregor. Zubaira Tukhugov gets a shot off. And then subsequently, before the October 27 showdown with Artem, that fight is pulled. Now, I think a lot of people in the Western world don't really understand how dark that kind of went. And I genuinely only remembered at the time, and I went back and I had a look at a few media clippings from it because it's not talked about an awful lot. But 2 days before that date where they were meant to meet and the fight was already scrapped, as I said, it was like the 25th of October, Zubaira Tukhugov pops up on Instagram with Chechen dictator Ramzan Kadyrov. And suddenly they're saying, come to Grozny and fight here. Artem and Zubaira are contracted to the UFC at this time. Artem replies and he says, look, we're contracted to the UFC. Zubaira himself is contracted to the UFC. If he leaves, we can do it. Now, Kadyrov is a guy who's been talked about for a long time in MMA. Karim Zidane, etc., has wrote many lengthy pieces about him. He has appeared on many human rights watch lists like Amnesty, all this kind of stuff. He has been panned for his regime in Chechnya by many, many people. So that kind of took a very dark turn there. And as I said, every time Artem's been interviewed since then, it's been like, if this fight happens, it's gonna like I would take this fight over anything else in the world. What I fear, I'll tell you, Ariel, is I detested the fact that Paul Hughes v Usman Nurmagomedov was billed as this Dagestan v Ireland thing. Nobody in Ireland has any malice towards anyone in Dagestan. No one has been walking around since October 2018 going, when are we going to get one back on those Dagestan guys? Nobody had ever done that. And then the promotion pushed this kind of thing. There was a bit of a skirmish at the weigh-ins, and everyone back here was like, if this goes off now because lads suddenly feel like there's this beef between Dagestan and Ireland, we'll be very pissed off. Luckily, it didn't. As we saw, there was massive respect shown between the Nurmagomedov camp and Paul Hughes' team, FAI, in the aftermath of that fight in January. And I think like that's one thing I think people shouldn't get confused here. This is not Artem Lobov coming back to settle a score with all of these guys. I think it's a very personal thing between him and Zubaira. And that would be my one fear, that this would take on a similar kind of narrative that the first meeting between Hughes and Nurmagomedov did.
Very great backstory. Thank you for that intel. The irony is, if we want to use that word, for lack of a better word, is Artem and Conor are no longer friends, right? And
to put it lightly.
Yes. They're currently at odds, at legal odds, which has been played out in the media as well. And back in 2018, like how unfathomable was that result, right? Like they were thick as thieves. I remember being in the lobby of the Vidara Hotel the night before Mayweather McGregor, and Artem shows up. He was somewhere in the world and couldn't be there earlier, and he said like there was no way I was going to miss this. Like I think it would be fair to classify them as like genuine good friends, right? Like they were close, they were teammates, they were training
far
partners.
Beyond.
Far
beyond that.
And
I think Artem and Conor, I think he was closer to Artem than he was anyone in that camp.
Right.
They traveled the world together. You remember them famous pictures with they were outside the money vault. They were reenacting that Muhammad Ali picture from the 70s, and Artem and Conor were posting. And these guys went all around the world, Brazil, Russia, everywhere together. I personally don't think there was anyone more loyal to Conor throughout his career, up until they inevitably fell out. But when they were together, Artem Lobov was the loyalist guy they ever meet. And look, he got plenty of benefits from being Conor McGregor's friend as well. His opportunity with the UFC, when he was on the Ultimate Fighter, he got a second chance to fight, and he fought his way into a UFC contract. So it was a mutually beneficial situation, but they were as thick as thieves.
Yeah, and it has come to my understanding, we're going to ask him about this, I believe he's training at SBG for this fight. Did you hear that?
I'd see him training, I'm talking about on Instagram and stuff like this. I'd see him training often, like with the likes of Richie Smullen, who's obviously been in the UFC, been in Bellator. He is fighting in Octagon now. He has a fight coming up, I believe, in October himself. So yeah, he's been training with those guys as far as I know. He's a beloved member of the team. He is one of the most popular guys.
This would create some sort of fraction, but apparently not.
Not that I'm aware of. You'll have to ask Artem about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, John and Conor are very close as well. So I don't know how that goes off, to be honest with you.
Sure. All right. Well, we'll talk to Artem at about 3:05 Eastern in about 40 minutes time. I wanted to talk about this Tapology rankings because, as I've told you, I think Tapology are the best in the business, and now they're getting into the rankings business. Now they've had like fan rankings as well, but this is one step further. They came out with this press release yesterday. Tapology, the most used combat sports website in the world, is proud to announce the release of its brand new Tapology UFC rankings, a proprietary algorithm-based system for providing rankings for every fighter on the UFC roster. The rankings are available immediately at tapology.com. The new system uses no human polling whatsoever. Instead, it analyzes the results of every bout in modern UFC history and evaluates the quality of each fighter's resume based on a custom-built scoring algorithm that was years in the making, with UFC fighters sometimes competing only once or twice a year. it was necessary to design a custom architecture that differs from rating systems such as ELO-based models. What's ELO-based? I don't know. And by removing the influence of individual opinions, the algorithm avoids the biases and knowledge gaps that can affect traditional media-voted rankings. Also of note, Tapology UFC rankings are not limited to just top 10 or top 15 in each weight class. Every fighter currently on the UFC roster is included, from champions and title contenders to newcomers with just one appearance. While a preview of the top athletes in each division is visible to all visitors, full rankings access is available to users who register for free for a Tapology account. And so they've put this out. If you go on the website right here and now, and you go to rankings at the very top, they have them. They have the top 5 or top 6, top 7, top 8. You can kind of see 8, and then you have to just sign up to see the rest. But I wonder if this is a preview of what's to come. Now, one thing that, what's ELO system here? ELO is a system for calculating the relative skill levels of players in zero-sum games like chess. It's a dynamic rating system that adjusts a player's score after each game based on the outcome and the difference in ratings between the players. All right.
It's more straightforward, simple, mathematical. It works very well in systems like chess.
Well, let's take a look. Here's their heavyweight top 5. And by the way, one thing that I love right off the bat, the champion is number 1. As I've often said, the champion should be number 1. He's the best. It should be champion then number 1. Yes. Tom Sergey Pavlovich.
Wait, is that to imply that you think every champion is the best fighter in every weight class?
Interesting. So then, okay, that's even. But by the way,
completely disagree.
But by the way, no. Because
Wow.
what I'm
Love
saying.
it, Rick.
Okay. It's a great point, by the way. But then include the champion in the ranking.
Yes, champion should
So
be.
I
in
don't
the
like
ranking.
how the UFC ranking is
Yes,
champion
yes.
and then 1, 2, 3, 4,
Agreed.
5. So
Agreed.
if the champion is included, let's just
They
say
could be third.
more often than not, they're number 1. But if they're not, then let's see them third.
Love it.
So even more reason.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. But that's a good point. Okay, so Tom 1, Pavlovich 2, Volkov 3, Cyril Gane 4, Almeida 5. 6 is Blades. No problems there.
No real gripes from me.
Pavlovich 2 spots up on Cyril Gane, who's getting the title shot.
Again, not a gripe for me.
Yeah.
One
Okay.
win in 3 fights.
Waldo Cortez Acosta 7.
He's coming.
You
Derek
hate it.
Lewis 8.
He's coming.
Okay.
man.
What about light heavyweight? Magomed 1, Pereira 2, Yuri 3, Jamal 4, Ulberg 5. Roundtree 6.
Those all make sense to me as well.
Yeah.
No issues with that top 6.
I feel like Khalil should be above Jamal Hill, no?
Same here. Agreed.
Beat him.
Just beat him.
Yeah.
Jamal Hill has also lost his last 3
2
fights
slots
now.
down. I would
agree with
almost
GC.
I would make a strong case that it should be Magomed, Pereira, Yuri, Roundtree, Ulberg, Hill.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, Roundtree, Hill, Ulberg. Right? But yes. Okay, so that's the first, shall we say, infraction?
To me, I don't think it's that big an infraction.
I think it's
we're
pretty
not
big.
gonna-
I
we're
mean,
not gonna-
Just
he
beat
just
him.
beat the guy.
Yeah, but head-to-head win can't be the only thing. Again, this
gotta be a
doesn't
pretty
exist in
big
a
thing.
vacuum.
I mean, Jamal Hill's also on a 3-fight losing streak.
Against the best of the best,
Against
but he's
the
still just,
higher level of competition, though.
beat
2
him.
fights ago,
you've got to
Khalil
take
was
the guy's spot if you're that
fighting
close.
Where's
Anthony
Dominic
Smith.
Reyes and his 3-fight win streak, huh? Where is
Anthony
he?
Smith.
Top 5.
Dominic Reyes is 8th.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay. What about middleweight? DDP, Imavov, Shemaev, Strickland, Izzy, Kyle.
Yes?
Rick's.
No,
Rick,
I don't
would you
have
have
a problem
Shemaev number 1 there?
This feels like it's almost.
No,
this feels like
because
it
Well, this-
mirrors
this
the
could-
UFC
activity.
ranking.
Yeah,
the
this could be
activity's too low.
the one where you could say, "Oh, I think Shemaev is better," but
I
the
thought that
resume-
was for sure what Rick was talking about, honestly.
No, I don't have much of a problem with this one either.
By the way, do you know what the 2 implies?
What do you mean?
The
Number
2.
of defenses? Sorry. I was just sitting here.
Oh, in the yes.
He's the first one that has one of those under his flag.
Hey,
By the way,
Tom's
shut up.
was blank, like empty, like he has a defense.
yeah.
Anyway.
No, I dig it. I could see some people saying Imavov too high. Imavov,
Yeah. Have Shemaev in before him.
exactly.
maybe.
But I mean,
Yeah.
sort of nitpicky. Okay, welterweight. JDM, Bilal, Leon, Usman, Buckley. Don't hate that. But
Where's Shavkat though?
Where's Shavkat? Yo, where is Shavkat?
7th.
Where's Ian Gary?
Shavkat is 7th.
Well, if Shavkat's low, you have to expect that Gary's also low, right?
Ian Gary is
Well, not
10th.
if 205 has anything to say about it, Rick.
Ian Gary is 10th. Behind Carlos Praches.
A joke.
Wow.
A fucking joke. I'm only joking.
Wait, behind Carlos Praches?
Yes, Carlos Praches is 9th on this ranking.
Ah, come on, lads.
I think we
anti-Irish
do have to
propaganda here.
understand,
This is-
just based on what I'm seeing here already, like head-to-head win is not the be-all, end-all. It does not mean you automatically are better, which I think is an argument
Okay,
to be
but
made.
even in this case, you talked about the level of competition for Jamal Hill. Like Ian Gary's losses to Shavkat Rachmanov. He's been
who's
fighting
only number 7.
He's fighting the tougher competition than Carlos Praches, and he has a head-to-head win over him.
He lost to that number 7.
I can't believe how
seven's
much you're
pretty
defending
crazy.
these Tapology's computer rankings.
I'm understanding of it.
By the way,
I get it.
Shavkat
Kobe
is what?
Covington is 8th.
7th.
And what's Gary?
10th.
Ian Gary is 10th.
Yeah.
This one's all over the gaff, boys.
Yeah.
Sorry. First one I'm saying.
Welterweight-
This one's fucked.
welterweight is
Sean
a
Brady
mess.
at 6th and Shavkat
Colby
at 7
Covington
crazy.
is 8th.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Come on, lads.
I don't think Leon and
I think it's because of
Usman should be
Colby's
3 and
previous wins.
What,
Well, yeah.
2020 or whatever.
What, Jorge
It is a while
Masvidal in
ago.
2022?
That's what I think a lot of this is. Like, if I'm looking,
Do you think? Okay, have we found some sort of issue here, PT? Okay, let's look at lightweight.
I do not love these welterweight rankings.
Okay, welterweight
Welterweight's
is the biggest mess.
most offensive.
yeah, that's
at
the most
the moment.
egregious so far.
Light heavyweight, there was a small. I definitely think
Nah.
Roundtree should be above. I think he just beat the guy, and they're
Yeah,
that close.
head-to-head is not the be-all,
If it's like,
But it has to mean
if it's
something.
like
He
if it's
beat
like
him.
Dustin beating BSD 2 versus 11, I don't think BSD becomes 2. But if it's 2 guys that close, you have to be above that guy.
But he would in the UFC rankings. He would
In
become
the UFC,
number 2.
he'd be ahead, 100%.
But that's because it's some Jamoku
that's an interesting thing you
works
just
for
said there, Ariel.
KXON in
This
San Diego.
computer's starting to sound a little bit like
Okay,
That's an interesting thing you said, right? Like, do you want to deal with the top of the division first? Because I have something to just say about what you just said there.
with lightweight.
Yes.
Okay, here's lightweight. Ilya 1, Islam
Mm-hmm.
2, Armin 3, Max 4, Charles 5. Now this, I could see this being very
I
controversial.
have a major issue with this one. This is the first one I have the biggest.
My
There we
biggest
go.
issue is that we can see lightweight and featherweight right now, and you still have Max Holloway at featherweight. You still have Ilya
Ilya.
at featherweight. You
How
still have
could
Islam
Ilya
at
Forget having
featherweight.
Ilya there. How is Islam not number one
Yeah,
if Ilya has one win in the
That's
division?
tough.
That makes
Okay,
no
this is
fucking
tough.
sense.
Fuck.
But like,
Fair
in my
play.
opinion, wipe
Fair
them
play.
out. They've left the division for now.
Tapology, I love you, but this is a big problem right here. If Islam is going to be included in 155, he has to be one. If he's
Has
not
to be one.
included, then I'm totally okay with it. Everyone gets bumped up. Ilya, Armin, Max, Charles. Then it's perfect, right?
Well, I think what we're finding out right now is Rick's take on like the champion is not always the best fighter in the division. It feels like this computer or Tapology or someone
right, yeah.
is just slating the champion and is number one no matter what.
Mm.
You said earlier, Ariel,
Yes,
that you like say if someone fought 2, fought 11, like you don't
Yeah.
automatically think 11 becomes 2. I'm just looking, and I've gone pretty deep here. 32, Rubeski, who fought Chris Duncan.
Yeah.
Duncan moves up 9 places. He's in 41st place, and Rubeski is in 32nd. How do we feel about that?
I mean, at that point, once you're getting into the 40s and 30s, it's kind of tough, no?
Well, it's important. Well, the whole reason they said, I read the
Yeah.
interview they did with
Yeah,
Ben
yeah,
Folks.
yeah,
The
yeah.
whole reason they're doing this is to give fighters value.
I get it,
Chris
which I like.
Duncan's moving up 9 spots from 50 to 41, and the guy he beat, I thought every round, is at 32. What are we doing here?
I think it's going to be a shock to the system, but I understand it. Head-to-head win does not mean you move ahead of that person. Let's say he beat somebody else, PT. Maybe he only moves up 5 spots, right? There is a logic to the idea that, like, yes, he's not going to pass him. Maybe with another win, maybe with a win over somebody who's even higher ranked, and all of a sudden he climbs past him very quickly. But I understand, like, head-to-head win does not mean you automatically move in front of the other person.
I think maybe the most disrespectful part of 155 is if you scroll down to like the 13 to 15 range.
What do we got?
You see,
I see it now.
You see Dustin the Diamond Poirier. No number next to his name in the
Yeah.
person with a
Incredible.
cane, and it says retired from MMA.
That is
the cane is
Okay, I am
Old
looking at some
Tapology.
FAQs on Tapology's website. It does
Oh,
say in
thank you, John.
regards to retirement, because there are a lot of instances of retiring and unretiring, aside from the disrespectful logo that they might have used
Yeah.
there.
Nah, I like the logo.
The fighter will remain displayed for 60 days in the position where they would have been ranked if they were still eligible, and then after 60 days of retirement, they will be removed. Similar with the different weight classes, so it takes into effect their two most recent UFC fights. So Islam's most recent fights were not at welterweight, so he's going to remain at lightweight until he has 2 fights in another division. So
he's not
Ilya's
just
only had
remaining at
one
lightweight.
fight at lightweight. He is now in both. Same with
Right,
Max.
right.
He's now the
Okay.
greatest lightweight in
By the way,
world.
does Jones have the same little logo next to his name?
He does. He does.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about featherweight for a second here. I just want to go through them all quickly. Alex Volkanovski 1, Topuria 2. So I think what we're seeing is the champion is being slotted because
Champion's just number 1.
right,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is a
Fair
problem.
enough,
It's a
fair
problem.
It
How
is
is
a problem.
Topuria 2 over?
It couldn't be.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep him in there, he has a win over Volk.
Now
How is
Max.
Evloev?
By the way,
behind
in the featherweight rankings, 2 out of the top 3 guys aren't featherweights anymore.
Correct,
Jesus.
which I also have an issue with.
Yes.
How is Movsar behind
Yeah.
Yair?
Yair. That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, featherweight, a bit of a problem. Look, we can't just shower Tapology with love, all right? We've been giving them a lot of
Also-
love, but we've got to work through
I
them.
love Tapology, by the way. I use it
Yeah.
every day. Absolutely love it.
D1 Glazer, bro.
Are these comprehensive? Is this every organization or
No,
only
this is
No,
just
it's just
UFC.
UFC.
Yeah.
I did ask my friend Gregory over at Tapology about that. He said we can offline about this, but
But they already had them, no? They already had the.
now it was more
world
like
rankings.
fan. It was fan rank. I don't know.
Well,
Who
were
knows?
they?
Okay, bantamweight.
Yo,
Marab.
wait, and at featherweight, the computer loves Melky Costa, number 12, and Pat Sabatini, number 14.
Shout out.
Wow.
Damn.
Computer loves.
Okay, here's bantamweight.
I mean, this
Marab
could be
1,
good for
O'Malley
betting, by the way.
2, Umar 3, Corey 4, Song Yadong 5, Henry Cejudo 6. Any issues with that? I don't hate that.
Is Cejudo still active?
No Peter Yan, huh?
Kirian coming in at 7th. I feel like he should be above.
Jesus.
Well, do
Triple
consider
C.
though the last win is Marcus McGee, who's probably ranked
Right.
quite a bit lower. Like
Yadong Song, who he
But
beat,
before,
is
but before that was Figgy and Yadong Song.
Okay. Flyweight,
And he has fought
Pantoja
the
1,
Best of the best.
Brandon Royval 2, Moreno 3, Josh Fan 4, Urseg 5, Tyra 6. Now, I did see on the Tapology X account last night that they were talking about this Josh Fan ranking. I think a lot of people were upset about it. Apparently, let me read it real quickly here. Okay, here it is. Here's some context for Joshua Van's ranking of number 4 compared to Brandon Royval at number 2, since many people are finding this confusing or maddening. Joshua Van, fantastic fight against Royval. It breaks him into the top 5. Will he do the same against other contenders at flyweight? Our system has seen many fighters over the years have a fantastic breakout fight only to struggle once other elite fighters develop a game plan for shutting the person down, but there are other fighters who follow up a breakout fight by winning the title next. Which one is Van? The Tapology algorithm stacks up what it has seen from Van against every other fighter in the division, and here it is basically saying it does not see him having as proven, doesn't see him as having proven it as completely as Royval has. Styles make fights. Was this just a bad night for Royval, who was champion and has competed against basically every top guy at 125? Royval was never champion.
That's correct.
Or is Royval
Algorithms are casual. The algorithms are casual.
Or is Royval about to go on a slide? Our system, of course, doesn't know, but in summary, it scores Royval's recent overall resume as being stronger.
this
Big
is why
hypotheticals, this
those.
guy.
Well, this justifies, right? This explains the head-to-head win does not mean you move in ahead of them automatically, right? If you've been facing higher level competition,
Yeah.
you might keep your spot, even though Van has the head-to-head win. Now, if Van wins against a top contender, or obviously the champion in Pantoja, who is the number 1, certainly you expect that he would have a massive jump. He'd definitely jump ahead of Royval. Probably, I don't know the algorithm itself, but I'd imagine he'd jump to number 1 since he's only coming from 4.
I
But
hate that word so much.
you need to.
I'm tired of algorithm. Everyone's just talking
Jumping?
about algorithm.
It's proprietary. They invented it. So.
No, I
I
know.
will say the
Gotta respect
FAQ is pretty lengthy, so I'm trying to parse through it. But they do have a section on if fighter A beat fighter B, why did they not move ahead? And it just is like there's no rule. They earn points based on their last 6 fights, and If that total is higher than the fighter that they beat, then they'll move above them.
Okay, so it's only based on the last 6 fights. That's what they show. They only show the results from the last 6. Interesting.
Like Eric said, it's
I have a
so
problem with Van being below Royval.
I have a problem with Jan
It's so
being
close.
below.
The Jan one is
Dong.
pretty rough.
I've got a lot of problems. if I'm
Okay,
gonna be
let's
honest.
just finish this.
Where's McGee?
Women's bantamweight, no women's featherweight. Big issue with that. Just kidding. Harrison, Pena, Pennington, Vieira, Dumont, Chasson.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
That's fine.
One of the easier
Flyweight, Shevchenko, Blanchfield, Fiorot. Fiorot should be above Blanchfield.
No.
What? She beat her.
Why is I think we're getting too bogged
Okay.
down in the
Grasso?
beat her
We
part.
may be doing.
Wait. Grasso Silva.
Yeah.
That's a problem too.
No,
She beat her.
it's not a problem. Okay.
Jasmine.
How could it not be a problem if it's based on the last 6 fights?
There literally
is
is.
6-0.
Yes. Okay, if this was college football and Texas A&M was 5 and
Because
Georgia
it's
Tech
not
was
a
6
binary
and
system.
Georgia Tech
It's not a
beat
binary
Texas-
system.
But
Go
also,
back
like
to the BCS, man.
this argument, like Manon's only loss is to Valentina Shevchenko, and if you want to play that game with Alexa Grasso, like why is she ahead of Natalia Silva here?
Because she has fought higher level competition in those last 6 fights.
I have a problem with
It turns out that any fucking rankings will have lads arguing.
Well, this
among
is the
themselves.
question.
Well, this is actually.
No, not me.
Can
I'm
I just
ready
be
to not
honest?
argue.
I think the fakakta UFC rankings don't make mistakes like this. No.
So this is the question. This whole exercise, we'll get to the last to strawweight. This whole exercise though raises the important question, which is it better to have humans with biases and opinions vote, or is it better to have a mathematical system where every time somebody looks at this and goes, "Well, that person beat that person. Oh my god, I can't believe this shit."
I want to sit
Is
down.
that
I want to
better,
sit down
or-
for a cup of coffee with this algorithm.
Algorithm seems like a complete.
I need
dickhead.
to
straighten
see
it
his
out.
bias. He's starting to seem like a bit of a jabron himself.
Yeah. Wasn't Mark Zuckerberg supposed to fix this whole thing?
I thought he
No,
was
That's
to
the
fight
UFC's
Elon.
rankings.
No.
And that'll
I
be
mean-
an algorithm too. And then we'll be complaining when one person doesn't pass one other person.
Yeah.
Could you
Good
imagine how
news is the
annoying this
ranking-
algorithm is?
The rankings
You know, like-
mean nothing.
I feel like
Going
PT
Joshua
and Connor
Van,
want to
Roy
take the
Val.
algorithm in a back room somewhere and
Okay,
straighten
let's
it
just
out.
finish.
Could you
this out.
imagine? Could you imagine if that was a real conversation you're having with this? If this was a person and you were like, "Oh, why do you have Van below Roy Val?" And he's like, "Well, hypothetically, I was thinking about it, and that's one fight that he's had. I think his potential hasn't actually shown me that
it would
he can
actually be
mitigate
interesting.
such assaults from higher level fighters in the future." Like, come on, mate. Fucking- we
Tafology
saw the
should
fight.
hire Pizzi to be the voice of the
It
algorithm.
was sort
and
of
just
like
explain it
Robert
to
De
people.
Niro-esque there with the
It was
facial
great.
What
expressions.
did the computer see in the Blanchfield Fiorot fight?
No, but
to
It was
rank her
6.
ahead?
There's 5 other fights. It's not just the one fight.
Imagine they had some
Is
sort of
Rick
like
the algorithm?
ChatGPT
Am I the
function,
algorithm?
and you can ask why is, and then it would give you that breakdown. That would actually be brilliant. Can they work on that? That would be brilliant. Hey, why is Brandon Royval ranked above Joshua Van by 2 slots if he just beat him a month ago?
It would
well,
re-
according to
It would require a little bit of revealing the algorithm, and I don't know if maybe that's their long-term plan. But in order to know the points, they would have to tell you exactly how it's calculated, and I don't know if they're prepared to do that because then it's not proprietary.
okay, one more strawweight: Zhang Weili, Yan Xiaonan, Virna, Carlos Esparza, Tatiana Suarez. Now Esparza's been
Yeah.
retired for a minute.
I don't think
Does she have the little thing next?
crazy how quickly they updated the Dustin
Yeah.
Poirier, but as far as
They
Yeah.
went thrown the old
Wait,
graphic out
does
there.
Esparza
didn't
not
they?
have it if you click
She
on
have
her?
the
No,
little
she's not.
retirement guy.
Yo, that's crazy.
That's insane. Do you remember flyweight back in the day when they were going to scrap it and Neil Siri, after being retired
Oh,
for
yeah,
2
yeah.
years, popped up at number 13?
Yeah. That was great.
By the
Oh.
way, that
Fucking
made me think like 60 days doesn't feel like the right number. Like people come out of retirement like 6 months later. You know, it's not like
Sure.
60 days doesn't really do anything. You might as well just retire.
Or if you're John Jones, 7 days later.
But is he back?
Lob off 5 years later or whatever.
Really back?
Um,
Chris Curtis, same night.
all right, so overall, what are we giving this? And by the way, I do want to let you know over at uncrown.com, our very own Ben Folks has a whole story on this new ranking system.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier.
Yes, I know, and
The
I mentioned at the top of the show too. Tapology's new system ranks every single UFC fighter, which may be welcome news for some, but not for others.
We're the
There you
others.
have it. And he spoke to the aforementioned Gregory Sachs. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say his last name, but he is the founder of Tapology. Great guy.
legend.
Met him.
Never met him.
And this is a great story that it explains a lot of the thinking behind what they've done and addresses the potential criticism that is to come. But I think it will kind of sort itself out.
I do too. I think this is good. Like it's an innovation within the sport, and we should be all behind this. We will shit on it, obviously, as I just have. But fair play, lads.
Topology's
But
incredible.
God forbid they have
It's brilliant.
Chris Duncan behind somebody that he beat. Then
But like they don't.
hell to
Well,
pay.
fucking.
I mean, like 9 spots behind a guy that.
Thank you,
just, like,
GC.
bludgeoned him
Thank
in
you.
there.
Yeah.
I mean,
What about
it's
his last
the
6
most
fights, though?
sensible thing.
The most
He's 5-1, and the other guy's 4-2 in the fucking UFC. All right.
Higher level competition. Then.
Oh, higher level of competition.
the most
Name Rebecca's
egregious.
last 6 fights.
Rubeski, I believe it's pronounced based on the broadcast.
Topology is incredible, but like we don't even use the UFC rankings, so like the Topology rankings obviously are never going to get used.
The only one that I really
Thanks
care
for all the
about-
hard work, guys. Never gonna.
The only one that I really care about are the uncrowned pound for pound
Shout out.
rankings. Speaking of all of this Meshugas, not really speaking of it, but our good friend Don Davis, the founder of the PFL, put out a very interesting tweet, guys. Did you happen to see this tweet? Interesting. Guess what? We offered. PFL MMA offered one championship to co-stage. He loves the co. Champs versus
Co-leader.
champs. Super event. Chatri turned it down. He said no. Laughing emoji. Obviously,
With tears.
it's because PFL MMA would win almost all the fights, 8 weight classes. PFL wins 7-1. Now, I wonder what the one is.
I wonder what one he's
Yeah.
like. We lost.
Wow, yeah.
I wonder which. I mean,
What
maybe
is
he
that?
can.
Yeah.
By the way,
Do you believe that this actually happened?
probably yeah.
Yeah.
Don talks about challenging promotion XYZ all the time. So yeah, I'd expect that they actually did this. By the way, Don, please call in on Thursday and let us know who was the one that you thought was.
Yes.
We also don't know how advanced these talks got. Like it wasn't like they brought like contracts to a table.
Yeah.
It could have just been Don Davis called up Chatri and was like, "What do you think of this?" And he's just like, "No."
Can I be honest? I'm actually happy Chatri said no, if only because all the years that we've asked for like 2 to battle 3, this would have been the most depressing version of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no demand whatsoever for a co-promotion between one championship and PFL. In fact, we wanted to break it down for all of you and let you know the matches that would have come to fruition had Chatri said yes. Over at heavyweight, you would have gotten maybe the most fun fight of them all, Francis Ngannou versus Rug.
Now we should be clear. Francis Ngannou won that like Henan Ferreira Francis Ngannou fight. We don't actually know who's a champion.
No, we don't. That's
So
the problem.
We
with all
should
of
be
them.
clear. We have no way to be clear
No,
about
we
who is
don't.
the champion.
There's actually
We're
Yeah.
using
one.
an algorithm to establish who
There's
the
only
champion of
actually
PFL
one
is.
champion in PFL, and it's Costello Vanstinas.
Yes,
Technically.
that's
Van
correct.
Steen is here, baby.
Okay, so who's winning that fight? Who's winning that fight?
Yeah, Francis.
I'll
Francis?
take Francis.
Okay, so that's not the one.
I mean, that one's kind of fun though.
God, that belt is fucking huge. I
Watch the
love it.
fuck out of it.
I would watch
the
that fight.
The belt
One
is almost as big
Senegal
as
v
Forza.
Cameroon. Come on.
Yeah,
Quality.
Yeah, I'm watching that for
Do
sure.
that in Africa. All right. Light heavyweight. Anatoly Malkin versus Dovlet Yakshi Muradov.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
the
we will
world
get
will
to it.
stop. Yes.
There are multiple.
There's
there are multiple ones here. But
Yes, because we're
gonna
not
put this
sure.
one. Well, because
Is it Anatoly Malkin
stop.
versus Corey Anderson?
yeah, or is it Corey Anderson?
Man, look at that old PFL belt though. That thing, throwback.
Yeah.
That's vintage. I'm going Malkin here.
Against both?
I think
If you're
Yeah,
PFL, which one,
Muradov would be a fun fight.
which one are you offering up? I'm
Yeah, we'll
going
do-
with Corey.
Yeah, we'll do Corey Anderson for the name value.
I feel
yeah.
like the
Name
name
value,
is
absolutely.
there. Yaksha
And I'm picking Corey if that happens because Corey's bad motherfucker.
Okay, so far it's 2-0 for PFL.
Yeah,
What was it, Malkin?
I like
Oh,
Malkin.
you're going Malkin.
I
You're
like
going Malkin over
versus
Corey.
Anderson. Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
actually.
okay. All right.
I think that'd be a good fight though. If Corey can get him down, like it's going to be a problem. But
Gets everyone down, Rick. Gets them all
everyone?
down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, ever since he's joined the old PFL there, Bellator / whatever it's called. Yeah.
All right. Here's where it gets interesting. After that fight, Malkin makes the walk again because he's the middleweight champion,
Money in the bank. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Oh,
going up against Costello.
hold on. I might have messed up the Photoshop here.
Oh fuck.
Oh no.
Is he not?
No, I might have Christian Lee on the Photoshop.
Oh.
Let's just imagine. Let's just imagine it
Christian
is.
Lee fighting CBS.
Okay. Well, point is,
Show it, but pretend that it's
let's see
Anatoly
it.
Malkin on the left.
Pretend it's Malkin.
Gosh, could you imagine Christian Lee moving up?
Wait, let me make sure I did the other ones.
Oh
right then, too.
Jesus.
I did all these very quickly this morning.
Okay.
All
Well,
right, the
anyway,
other ones are right.
Costello Vanstinas versus Anatoly Malkin.
No,
at middleweight.
they're not. Oh,
Another
wow.
banger.
Yeah, that's a banger. That's a really good fight.
I'm
Who wins
taking
that?
Malkin again.
You're taking
I'm
Malkin
going
again?
Malkin. I'm going
Okay,
Malkin.
so
with that
maybe
one. Yeah.
Don Davis was a little too confident.
Can we do that on the same
That could be
night?
the one, though. That could be the one.
That could
You know
be
what I
the
mean?
one.
7
maybe.
on 1, mate.
Yeah. All right.
Hold on. I gotta verify something.
Just keep going. Let's roll along.
great.
Roll
This is
along.
I'm just going. It's perfect for how crazy all this is.
I think it's right.
Welterweight, Christian Lee, the aforementioned,
That's right.
against. Now this is another one where I think.
No, wait, I was right. Okay, sorry, I had it right. Christian Lee is technically he is the 185-pound champion, so that was right. It's Christian Lee versus. The problem is the reason Anatoly Malkin is not on there twice is because they have like a cruiserweight division in one that he is the champion of.
Wait,
Their
so-
light heavyweight is 225, but he's also the middleweight champion, which is 205.
So
actually, I
Christian
had
Lee
it
is the
right.
lightweight, welterweight, and middleweight champion.
No. He's the welterweight and lightweight, but in one that's 185 and
Oh,
170.
for fuck's sake!
This is where the event didn't happen. They sat
is
down
how-
to try and
yes.
decide, and they went, "Fuck
This
this."
is too
Now, do you know?
confusing.
No,
This
it's
is how
not.
it went. This is how the conversations went, and then they just
Yeah,
hung
they're
up
like-
on each other.
No,
That's how
all
it
right.
went.
The graphics are right. Whew! I thought I fucked up.
All right. Anyway,
So it was Vance
Welterweight-
Venus versus Malkin. Versus Christian Lee, and then Christian Lee versus Thad Gene potentially as well.
now we're going with that.
Well,
Yeah,
I made
because-
another one as well.
Yes,
That new belt looks great.
because it could also be Ramazan.
It could also be Ramazan.
It could also be Shamil Masai.
It could also. He's the least. I think he has the least case for it because Thad is a newer tournament winner. But
But he's undefeated. If he was in the tournament, he might have won it.
I'm
he
picking
did it.
Christian Lee against none of these guys, by the way. Just for the record.
Yeah, probably not.
That is a good point.
Probably not.
That is a good point. By the way, you know what's so crazy? Like boxing is trying to
Thad Gene
eliminate
and Christian Lee
the
could actually-
splintering of the belts, and they're just introducing so many belts to each weight class. You know what I mean? There's the
No one has a
tournament
fucking
winner
clue what's
and the
happening.
champion series winner and the last year winner.
It is bad for the brand.
It's
It is-
awful.
it is
How they
Well,
don't recognize
horrible
this.
for the brand.
What it is like they thought these things would stay in isolation, right? They thought it would be like, okay, well, this guy won the tournament and then he'll fight the champion. But then like sometimes they don't, and now all of a sudden you got this queue. Now you have a tournament winner who didn't fight the champion. Plus you've got a new tournament winner in Thad Gene. It kind of got really messy in this division in particular. But Christian Lee versus Thad Gene could be a hell of a scrap, actually.
Okay, it's a busy night potentially for Christian Lee because
Yeah, he
he
has to
could
fight twice.
qualify at lightweight and go up against Usman Nurmagomedov.
No, his belts are at
Jesus
his
Christ.
I'm
belts are
reading
at
what you wrote for me.
no, his belts are at 70 and 85.
Okay, so who's Usman fighting?
Usman would
You
be
wrote
fighting.
LW Christian Lee.
Oh
versus...
yeah, no, it's Tan Kai.
Oh,
Tan Kai.
okay.
Usman.
Yeah, I'm going to
Next.
take Usman. Can we see the picture here? Third belt we've seen from the PFL side. Bellator belt.
Yeah.
Fucking
Tournament champion belt, old PFL belt, and now.
Oh, you know
Bellator
what?
belt.
That's on me. That's on me. I misread it.
Yeah,
I totally misread it.
yeah. Could you imagine trying to play in this event? It'd be an absolute nightmare.
Did you change this on the fly? Because I could have shown you, motherfucker. You motherfucker. I was like, I could have
No,
sworn.
it was I wrote Christian Lee, but it's Tan
You
Kai.
fucker. Because I was like, wait a second. Am I actually losing my mind here?
No.
Is it a different color, by the way?
What do you mean? The belt?
The Tankai.
It's
No,
linked.
it's a different
It's a
color.
link.
I just copy and pasted.
Mother effer. Okay. Usman's winning that. Yeah.
Yeah, Usman.
Featherweight, Fabricio Andrade, Movlid, Khaibulev.
Yeah, Mobley.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
take Mobley.
Mobley's winning that one.
Mobley
isn't he?
don't lose. Mobley just don't
But
lose.
I mean, could we just agree? Like, there's no box office here, right?
No.
There's nothing.
There-
I'd watch the fuck
Look,
out. I would watch the
Rugrug
shit out
and
of this.
fucking Francis
Yeah,
Ngannou
Ruger and Francis
would get me
Ngannou
out of bed. I'll
that's,
tell you
that's
that.
the main event, and you could sell it on that.
Yu Yu Wakamatsu.
Yeah.
At bantamweight against, we don't know who the bantamweight.
We don't know who the PFL didn't have bantamweight. This is their tournament this year, so there's two different finalists.
Sure.
That will, what is that? The next one that might be on the next card.
Alves, Wetzel. Yeah.
Alves or Wetzel.
Yeah,
Better.
It's a big one.
I'll be there for that.
There's some fun ones, honestly.
Okay, so is it is it 7? Is it 7 for PFL?
Yeah.
Nah, I took Malkin.
Who's the one? I wonder who the one is.
One a division that PFL doesn't have. So
Now all the
The
now all the-
cruiserweights. Yeah.
Now all
The
the
Malkin
pseudo
versus anybody.
champions are going to be walking around the PFL offices on pins and needles because they think they
Why
might be
can't
the
they
one.
figure it out? Why can't they just be like somewhat?
Organized? An organization being
Just like-
organized?
It's just, I don't know. Just be somewhat normal.
They should
You
today,
have something there.
right now, this moment, just be like, we are naming our champions. and this is it. And just go with that moving forward. No more. Just don't bother with this shit anymore.
Yeah.
The Shatri call happened, and Shatri was like, all right, who's going to fight who? And Don was just like, Castillo Van Steenis. And that's all.
That's it. He's just fighting everyone?
I've got Castillo Van Steenis.
Versus everyone.
Online
Taking
too,
on
right
all
now.
comers? I see a tweet here from someone named Abdul Akhtar that the Royval Van already got an AI summary. Did you see this? He sent this to you,
Yeah.
Connor?
Yeah.
Brandon Royval is ranked above Joshua Van on Tapology due to a combination of resume strength and past performance, even though Van recently defeated Royval. While Van's victory over Royval was impressive, Tapology's ranking system likely still reflects Royval overall body of work, including his wins over top contenders like Moreno and Kaikar France and the title fight against Pantoja.
So this is
I'm just going to have a quick look at these rankings. You know what I mean? I don't have time to sit here and read fucking War and Peace.
No, this is an AI overview of an AI algorithm.
It's not an AI algorithm, by the way. We should.
Fuck this one.
I know we're having silly goose time over here, but just to be clear, there is a specific formula that they've created, proprietary, that determines these rankings and assigns points.
You've thrown
there is not AI
proprietary into
involved.
this conversation 18 times, and
It
I'm not
means
sure
that
if
they
it
came
ever
up with it
made
and
any
is
sense.
protected by them having it and nobody else having it. They have a specific formula.
I can
There is
tell
no
you-
AI. It is not some kind of like a learning process. The system is the same.
No, I
Nice lower third. You know who hates? You know who fucking hates this conversation more than anyone?
Who's that?
The guy that made the Tapology.
No, I think this is all.
No, I think he appreciates me, but he probably
By the
hates
way,
all of
Oh,
you.
he hates us.
You've given them like 60 minutes of publicity today.
I know, but in his head, he's
Okay.
explaining to his computer screen right now why it,
It was
actually
like
works.
20
and we're
minutes
just like,
of praise and 40 minutes of just like this
No,
ranking.
that's not fair.
But by the way, so let's answer the question though.
Sure.
Ariel, you even said it earlier.
Yeah.
You like in a serious moment, you were like, look, sometimes like the UFC rankings don't even mess this part up, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a certain. Would you prefer to have people subjectively and potentially with bias voting, or a points-based, purely mathematical system?
I think, honestly, people.
You'd rather have the people.
People who are smart people.
Yeah.
Because I think people who are smart people aren't making these mistakes.
it just all comes back to the rankings don't matter.
Well, actually, I think rankings do matter if they're actually being respected. Like, rankings matter in college football, right? Rankings matter in college basketball because they are respected. They aren't respected in combat sports. In boxing, they're a lot more respected. Rankings matter. Like, the IBF will say, hey, like, look at the Crocker-Donovan fight. Hey, these two guys are the top two guys. They should fight for the vacant title.
And that is done by panelists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not computer. It's not AI. It's just the UFC rankings aren't respected. The pound for pound, that's the one that doesn't matter. But if we lived in a world, Rick, do you remember, and PT as well, do you remember WAMA back in the day?
Yeah.
They tried to do WAMA with Fedor as the champion and Affliction. Like, they tried to do it. It died on the vine because the UFC didn't acknowledge it. And I think the sport is too far down the road to, like, in our lifetime, this will never happen. The sport is the sport. The structure, the foundation, the base is already in place. Anyone who wants to make these kinds of radical changes where it's like, oh, there's going to be an independent ranking system and all this stuff, like, I don't think it's going to happen because the UFC is too big of a powerhouse, just like the WWE is too big of a powerhouse. And even there, some people have been able to nip at their heels. No one has even come close in the last 10, 15 years to the UFC. It would be cool. Like, I would love if these rankings had Costello Van Steenis.
They can't though.
Usman
because
Nurmagomedov. Yeah, I know, because they're not fighting the same people.
They're
It's-
not fighting
yeah.
the same pool of people, and the points are assigned.
But
based on
ultimately, if you got like the 10 best media members, like the 10 most
that.
respected,
Is 10 enough? Is 10 enough?
I think so. You don't
Why
think
can't
so?
you combine it with their algorithm and one is just weighted heavier?
You weight them
because-
differently. You could potentially do that.
I ultimately, if you got the 10, 15, I don't think you need more than that. Most respected people in the sport. Are there even 10, 15?
Do the
media
10
members?
or 15 most respected people in the sport want to be subject to voting on this and then being
Forget
criticized
Forget
for their
that.
vote?
I'm not saying subjected or not. I'm not saying they want to do it or not. Blah blah blah. But I'm just saying, I would
That would be your preference.
favor that
Yeah,
over this.
yeah.
Now, those people aren't signing up for this
Yeah.
because I don't know if you guys would agree. Like, maybe I would be included in that. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You would definitely be included
PT,
in that, and you
do
would.
you want to do that?
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this goes back to when the UFC introduced their rankings.
Yeah.
I think it was 2013, if my memory serves me correct. When you started to like initially, I was like, okay, this is interesting. But then when you started to realize that like people's livelihoods were going to be attached to this initially, right? When they were going to say like, oh, the guy who's ranked number one is good. Who wants that burden? You know what I mean?
Especially when you can be held accountable for it, right? Where did you rank me, Ariel?
Yeah.
You cost me X. That's a heavy burden to take on. It seems to work in boxing though. Like the boxing writers are voting on these things and
the boxing one is not perfect either. Like you'll go to
there
the
will
rankings,
never be perfect one. That's the problem.
Exactly.
You go to the top 10 welterweights in the IBF, and it's 10 completely
Totally
different people
different.
in the WBA.
Yep.
And I'm like, how's this even possible?
Yep.
How's it even possible?
Yeah, it's a flawed system, and it just isn't going to get.
But
That's why I
ultimately,
ultimately do
I'm
favor the
pro-human.
math version.
Yeah,
Because
you would favor the AI.
But this is the first version of it we're seeing as well.
Yeah,
like it could.
yeah.
It's not
you know,
AI. You said AI. It's not fucking AI.
Whatever.
It's
Algorithm.
Algorithm.
Does the A in,
algorithmic system? It's all
right?
proprietary.
does the A in AI stand for algorithm?
No.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence.
Okay, you're right.
Did my best. Tried.
But I favor the math version because there's more reliability and predictability. It's also like I'm a bit of a robot, so I kind of like identify with it.
But college football tried this. Do you not remember BCS? And everyone was
I don't
up
watch
in
college
arms.
sports, so I don't care.
Everyone was
Tell
up
us
in
what
arms
happened.
because the rankings were flawed because a computer was taking into effect one team was better than another, and then it was just the top two teams, and then team number 5, everyone that was a human voting had them at number 1, and they didn't get to.
Yeah, it was
play
a
for the
failed system.
championship.
It was a failed
I would
system
argue-
that lasted like 10 years.
Or I imagine they would have argued,
10
or
years.
in the case of Tapology, would argue that they got the formula, they got the equation wrong, not the intention, right? If the formula gave that incorrectly, you can tweak the formula. I believe I read in Ben's article on uncrown.com that they had been working on this
Yes.
format for many, many years. So like you might have to just tweak the system, not necessarily scrap the idea of having it be mathematical.
And Sachs even said, right? He said like there was 2 versions of it that didn't work well at all.
Yeah.
Like we're not saying like we're scrutinizing this and we're picking out the flaws of it, but like it's not like a total write off here. That's
No.
like nowhere near it. Like, you know, we went through all the divisions. We got to 155 before we had a real issue with it. And even then, like it's this champion situation. There is some flaws to it, but I expect it like anything. Will hopefully it will keep improving, and you have to give them credit for the innovation. Like this is what all sports need. From the fan point of view, from a media point of view, every part of it needs to be innovated, and Topology are trying to do that. So fair play.
Yeah, he told Ben that it was 5 years in the making. He said, quote, "We want the system to be consistent and unemotional." That sounds a little bit boring and robotic, but it is, we think, the best thing when you're talking about rankings. You wouldn't want vibes to control which NFL teams make the playoffs and which one has home team advantage. It has to be a robotic system that says, these are the rules. We don't care how excited the Eagles fans are by how they looked last weekend. I get that, but ultimately it doesn't fix the issue of this guy beat that guy, and yet this guy is ranked 2 slots below that guy.
The only pushback I would give on that is that a flaw? Is that incorrect? I don't necessarily know that to be true.
As a human
For
being,
Hill and Khalil, it feels incorrect.
if as a human being, if I'm sitting down and ranking the best 10 lightweights or light heavyweights, I'm putting Roundtree over Jamal Hill. He beat
That
him 5 rounds.
I
to none.
understand it, but
We got to determine on
I
that
don't
night who
think
was the
it
better
is
fighter.
universally true.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Styles make fights. As
Okay,
as
so
you said.
ultimately you're
I'm in favor
you're in
more
favor
of the
of
math version, because I think the human version, the subjective version, is always going to be inherently flawed because there are other things that we are factoring in other than the math. In this, we know what the system is. The system is this mathematical equation that they've come up with that provides the points for each thing. Is it going to be wrong? Like, are you going to disagree with it at times? Yes. But is it ever going to not do what it's supposed to do? No. It will always do what it's supposed to do. Whereas I don't trust humans to always do what they're supposed to do.
GC, humans, math.
Yeah, I guess humans. I
Yeah.
guess humans, because I do just go back to how, like you mentioned, the rankings are just disrespected by the UFC, and like they're the ones that make them. So it feels like they're never going to get to a point where they're actually respecting them, and they're just going to make the matchups that they want to make.
Humans, math, Pete.
Look, in a perfect world, if we had a situation like you're talking about, where it's the 10 best media members in the world doing rankings, of course, you'd say let those lads at it, you know. But that isn't the situation we have. I'm not going to write this off, as I said.
I'm not either. I'm not either. By the way, I love what they're doing. I love what they're attempting.
Yeah,
I'm just
I do
saying
too.
overall.
Right now, I'm still on the human side, but I'm open to being convinced.
I like how this is like maybe potentially become a war for our like humanity. Like you guys are with the human resistance and I'm with the bots that are just going to take over. That's okay.
Uncrowned bots doing the rankings from here on forward.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
By the way, just for fun, I'm in ChatGPT right now. Who are the 10 best light heavyweights?
They had
In the
Ilia
UFC.
Latifi in it the last time I checked.
No, light heavyweights.
UFC.
Yeah, Ilia Latifi.
Oh, Ilir Latifi. Okay, here it is. Magomed 1, Pereira 2, Yuri 3, Ulberg 4, Roundtree 5, Jan Blachowicz 6, Jamal Hill 7, Rakic 8, Reyes 9, Ozdemir 10.
ChatGPT nailing it.
Yeah.
By the way, ChatGPT didn't have an opinion on that. It sourced other sources.
No, I
and they came up
understand.
with a
Ask it
collaborative.
to cite its source.
With
It
excellent
does.
results.
I see it.
With
I see
excellent
it.
results.
ESPN.com, Yard
Uncrimed.
Barker,
Have all your
Yard Barker,
rankings.
perfect.
Marshall
Apology.
Nerd.
If fucking Uncrowned isn't in there, I'm going to
No,
lose
but
my
we don't
shit.
do, we don't do divisional
We don't do
ranking.
Oh, yeah,
divisional,
sorry.
just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
580 WAF.
No, but by the
Hawaii.
way, but to their credit, Roundtree 5, Hill 7.
Yeah,
They even know.
listen, the
Ask
voters
them
at
their
Yard
number
Barker and
to its credit.
and Marshall,
Yes, yes,
whatever it was, they got it.
What was the other one we had an issue with? Was it flyweight?
155.
Piotr Jan, yeah.
Ilya
Piotr
being
Jan
champion.
not being in the top 6.
Piotr Jan
Bantamweight.
being behind Song Yudong and Henry Cejudo.
Ilya being 1 and Islam not being there.
That
The
was a
champion
big one for
situation.
me. That
Who
was
are
the
the
one for
10
me where
best
I'm like, what the
That's
fuck?
the one that
Bantamweights.
got you, Rick. You're
Yeah.
like, hang on a second.
Okay,
Fuck
here
this.
we go. Here's their top 10 bantamweights. Marab, Sean. Wait, are these according to the UFC? They might have just taken.
ChatGPT,
yes.
lazy bastard.
Yeah, come on,
lazy
lazy.
fucking bastard.
They just copy paste.
Careful slanging these insults around to the robots.
Who
They're always
are
listening.
the top 10
Does the X stand for
flyweights
algorithm?
in the UFC? Come on, don't just give me the UFC rankings. I just go to that website. Come on, give me your. Oh, here, okay, flyweights. Oh, they had Pantoja listed as champion, not even one. Pissed me off.
Jesus.
But
Say chat.
But by the way, Joshua Van 1, Moreno 2, Royval 3,
Makes
Albazi
perfect
4,
sense.
Kai Car France 5, Tyra
Bantamweight?
6.
Oh,
No,
flyweight,
the
flyweight.
bantamweight they just copy pasted.
Oh, okay.
6, Tyra, Manel
Has
7.
anyone considered building an algorithm to sort this kind of stuff
Yeah,
out?
yeah, yeah.
I think that would go really well.
I like that idea, Pete.
Yeah. That's good. Would it be proprietary or not?
Well, I only like the proprietary kind. It's the only ones I use.
Well, there you have it. Overall, constructive criticism. Overall, I would say glowing praise for the most part of the brand new Tapology website, and most importantly, that little button there where you can toggle through location, odds,
button.
opponent. What is it? Yeah, this one right here. Odds, location. What's the other one? I think it's opponent. Wait, that's a good one. This is a game changer. So shout out to our friends over at Tapology. Shout out to Ben Folks, who wrote a great article on all this, spoke to Gregory Sachs on uncrowned.com, and perhaps you can speak to him about it on the crack on Friday. For now, though, let us move along to our next guest. So very exciting to talk to this man. It has been, as the kids say, a minute since we last spoke to him. It's been several years, to be exact. And quite frankly, when I started the week, didn't think that he'd be on this Tuesday. But then we woke up on Monday and saw a post that he was returning to MMA for the first time in 7 years, fighting this October under the PFL umbrella in Abu Dhabi against his old, bitter rival, Zubaira Tukhugov. It is the GOAT himself, the pride of both Russia and Ireland, the Russian hammer himself, Artem Lobov. Is he actually here? I don't believe it. There he is. Artem,
Yes, boys.
welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back and great to see you, Ariel.
It's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much, Artem. It's so great to have you back. It's so great to talk to you again. And so is this in fact true? You essentially broke the news. Is this true? Are you coming back in October?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I was signing the contract with Mike Hogan, he told me that, look, Artem, you can start, promoting the fight. This is a big fight for us. We want to, see you promote it the way you can. get it all out there. So I said, look, as soon as I sign my contract, I'm gonna announce it and start promoting it, which is what I done. I signed the contract and straight away I pumped it out there and let the world know that this fight is finally happening. And I can't wait to get my hands on him finally.
Okay, and so are you coming back, Artem, because it's Zubaira, or were you always planning on coming back and they were able to make this fight?
If you recall the last interview I've ever done, it was with you, when I was retiring. And I told you, you asked me, Artem, is there any way you will come back? Is this going to be a fake retirement like many that we see? Is this a real retirement? Are you going to be back very soon? And I told you, Ariel, there's only two things that can get me back. If I get offered 7 figures, or it's a fight against Tuhugov. And I said that the fight against him is definitely going to happen. I said, no matter what, I'm going to make that fight happen. It's going to take place, and we're going to settle the score. So this is exactly what happened here. I felt this was the right time. I'm not getting any younger, and I didn't want to wait any longer, because then it just would be ridiculous, 2 lads in wheelchairs, trying to fight.
Yeah.
So I said, right, let me do it, But, I have been in talks with different promotions, especially from Russia. I've had a few offers, but I just didn't really, it didn't ignite the fire in me, and the offers weren't big enough, so I was turning them down. However, once I realized there's a possibility for me to fight Tuhugov, I was, the fire was lit up again, and I was ready to go.
So we last spoke January 5th, 2022. That's your last interview?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was it. I just done an interview with you, and that was it. I did not do any more interviews. I didn't do any media. That was it. I just kind of,
So what have you been doing the last 3.5 years?
Yeah, so when I retired, I knew already I was going to be working with my friend in the UK. He's got a construction company. He's always kind of supported me throughout my fighting career, and I knew there was a job for me with him, when I retired. So I've just been normal, wage life, which isn't good in some sense. It's a lot quieter, it's a lot more kind of stable. But I'm not gonna lie, I did find it a little boring sometimes, and I did struggle, I'd be watching the events, and I'm not gonna lie, I did definitely miss fighting. So once this fight was announced, once I saw that I can fight again, I'm not even joking, like something just, inside me just changed. I feel this burn again, this fire, this excitement, a little nervous, but I feel alive again. It's good that I've decided to do it. I think if I haven't done it, I would always be regretting it. And I can't wait to put on a good show for the fans and get my hands on Tuhugov and finally, show him what can happen when it's just one-on-one, me against him.
And so are you leaving that job, or are you just taking a break and then returning after this fight?
A break. Just going to take a break now for, obviously camp. I'm taking this camp very seriously, so I'm not going to be doing any work. I'm just going to be, fully concentrate on the camp, training twice a day, doing loads of sparring, planning to go up to Belfast to spar Paul Hughes and the boys there. They've been kind enough to give me an invite, so got a lot of good sparring partners here as well. Richard Smulin, obviously, as BG Ireland, my home. Be doing a lot of training there as well. So I'm gonna leave no stone unturned. Don't be distracted by a few gray hairs in my beard and mustache. The hammer is still ready to go, and my testosterone is as high as ever.
I love it. And so, are you coming back for just one fight? Is it just this one and then you're done, or are you open to others?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. In terms of professional MMA, potentially maybe one and done, but I wouldn't mind, getting into some of them celebrity boxing, shows that Jake Paul and the Misfits have been organizing. The money seems to be really good there. The events are always massive, a lot of viewership, big numbers, always sold out events. So I wouldn't mind, doing something like this potentially. Also I'm planning to have a bigger family now, we're hoping to have another kid soon, trying for another baby, so I need a bigger house.
Love it.
So definitely I think I'm going to have another 1 or 2 fights, but this is first. I got to get Tuhugov out of the way. It's been bothering me all these years. It's a fight that I've been thinking about so much. And I just have to do it. I feel I can't move on otherwise. I need this fight to be able to move on in my life.
Okay, so the whole incident between the two of you happened 7 years ago, right? More than 7 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Why does it still bother you so much? Why is there still this animosity?
Well, if you remember, initially Khabib approached me alone. It was just him. And me and him spoke and we sorted everything. He said to me, listen, why are you talking shit about me? I said, look, if somebody called, your friend, the names that you've been calling, Conor, Chicken, and all this, which I told you before in Russian, it's
Yeah.
a lot more severe. I said, listen, if somebody was calling your friend that, you for sure would respond. So what do you think I'm going to do? You leave me no choice by talking like this, especially we've been so friendly with him all the time, meeting at different events, always shaking hands. Conor never went at Khabib. Khabib was the one that initiated this. So I said, I had to reply and say, well, whatever, just don't say anything else. And he walked off. That was it. But then he came back with a gang of people, and suddenly he had the exact same question again. And I was a bit confused, like, what's going on? Me and you just sorted it, two of us one-on-one, and now with the 10 guys with you, you suddenly have more questions for me. And of course, if you recall, Tuhugov was there, very vocal. He was screaming at me, saying, "Oh, why don't you say it now to my face?" So, well, let's go, Tuhugov, one-on-one, and I will say it to your face. Obviously, as Tuhugov outside of the cage, you're not going to mess with him too much because, as he himself many times mentioned, he's a relative of the Chechen president Ramzan Kadyrov. And this man is not to be messed with. He is very well respected and feared, in Russia and across the globe. So of course, I can't. There's nothing I can do outside. And to be honest, I don't want to live that life. Messing outside. Fuck up your life, end up in prison or in the hospital. Who wants that? So let's do it like real men, one-on-one, because he talked a big game, but when I watched at his fights, he doesn't look that brave in his fights. A lot of the time he backs off, looks for wrestling all the time, he taps out. You're talking to a man that never tapped out, talking to a man that never pulled out of a fight, and I accepted the fight against anyone, anytime, any place. So, I said, let's get in the cage and settle it like professional fighters that we are.
And you were supposed to fight in October of 2018, right? Just a few weeks after Conor's fight against Khabib, and then it got canceled, and that was because of the whole melee that happened afterwards, right? That was the UFC's decision.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly, and that's another reason. What I mean? Just even there, what is he doing? To Hugov, like you're jumping into the cage of a fighter that just had a fight, is exhausted, and you're jumping with a big gang of you, and you're so brave, and attacking him. Come on, that's not a way to behave. You want to jump like this and be aggressive. Well, let's go. We're gonna fight now one-on-one, and let's see how aggressive he will be. I bet you he'll be wrestling from the changing rooms. He'll be just holding me down, and he won't want to fight. He won't want to engage. But this is your chance. You came in with punches at Conor. Well, let's see you come with punches at me now.
Were there any other talks, opportunities brought to your attention about fighting him since then? Since that fight that got canceled, since you left the UFC, was this ever close to happening in the past 7 years?
No, there hasn't been, because obviously, if you recall, he was in the UFC still, but he was suspended for a year.
Yeah.
He decided to remain in the UFC, and for me, I was like, I had a kid on the way, and I needed to be making money. I wasn't sure what's going to happen with the UFC. Are they going to give me another fight? And I had a massive bare knuckle contract on my table. So I said, look, I'm not waiting a year for him, and I wasn't even sure if he was going to be allowed to fight back. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I left the UFC, went bare knuckle. He stayed in the UFC, so then that was not possible. Yeah.
Is this fight happening at 165?
Yeah, so I said, listen, I'll accept any terms. I said, for me, I want that fight no matter what. So they came back with 165. I said, no problem, make it 175 if you want, 185, I don't care. Yeah, so it's 165.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that you would fight him even for free. I hope you're getting paid for this.
Yeah, to be honest, that's how the conversation went with Mike. Mike said, what do you want? What kind of purse do you want? And I said, listen, Mike, I don't care. I want zero here. I don't care about this, But he was saying, look, I can't do it free. It has to be some purse. So he's giving me some purse, and I didn't negotiate at all. I just whatever. But, the good thing, I will be able to pay my team. Obviously my coaches going to do good work. So, I'll be able to pay them, and I'll make a nice donation as well to a kids charity, so it's, some good will come of it for sure.
Okay. And have you seen him ever in any sort of like event, street? Like, have you guys locked eyes on each other since 2018?
Not really. No,
Okay.
I have not seen them at all anywhere. None of them really. Not
Okay.
Khabib, not Zubaira, none of them.
Any concern about fight week? What do they say? Just to make sure that nothing happens between the two of you before the fight, right? There's a lot of animosity here. Clearly, what are they saying as far as security and preventing things from happening?
We didn't really talk with PFL about that, but obviously let's do it in the cage. You know what I mean? Any attempt to try and jeopardize the fight, to me, I see what this is. Trying to get out of the fight. Come on, make it to the cage and let's go. You can be as aggressive as you want in there. You can do whatever you want in there. Let's go. This your chance. Well, what is there need to jump outside the cage and then say something when we have a fight scheduled? I'm ready to fight you. I'm showing up. Just show up and that's it.
One fight deal with PFL?
Yeah, one fight deal. One fight deal with PFL.
In Dubai?
Yeah. In Dubai, yeah. To be honest, Dubai sounds like a good location, to fight. I've been there before just for a holiday. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's going to be good. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Russian fans. There's going to be a lot of Irish fans. So
you think it'll be more pro Zubaira?
I think over there might be 50-50 because obviously Paul Hughes is also on the card. And Kieran Loughlin as well is on the card. So, there's going to be a lot of Irish fans for them also there who I think would support me. There's going to be a lot of Russian people supporting me as well. So I'd say it's going to be even off. I don't know, but that's kind of my kind of thoughts on that.
Okay. And as far as training is concerned, you mentioned SBG, your old mates. Are you still being trained by John Kavanagh?
Well, John is not really, he doesn't really coach as much anymore. You rarely, he's not as much there. There's different coaching now for MMA team. But I definitely will be doing work with, Narius there, who is a jiu-jitsu coach there. He's excellent. David Jones, my boxing coach, is definitely going to be doing work with him in SBG. Then actually, my good old friend, Johnny Dargan, is back as well. So he said he's going to help me out. Working on some of my kicks, and surprise Zubaira with a couple of, tricks up my sleeve. And as I mentioned, I'm hoping to go up to Belfast, for some good sparring with the boys up there. They have a really, really good team now. They're very strong fighters. I mean, they've always had, but I think they've kind of peaked now. They're at the top now. So it will be very good to mix in with them and sharpen the tools, against the top level guys. I've seen how Paul Hughes done against Nurmagomedov in the last fight. It was a very close fight, but in my opinion, Paul won. So for sure, this is high level. High level fighter, and that's exactly the kind of fighter that I want to work with.
So we were talking a few minutes ago with your old friend Pete Carroll as well, Artem, who you know very well, about the history of this feud, and obviously a lot of it's centered around what happened between Conor and Khabib. And an unfortunate, byproduct of all of this is that, unfortunately, you and Conor aren't as close as you once were. And we were sort of talking and reminiscing about how close you used to be, how you were the best of friends, training partners, how you always supported him and he always supported you. And it really felt like a loving and genuine friendship that you had. I remember seeing you at Maymac, showing up the night before, like you said, you wouldn't have missed it for the world. And not wanting to relitigate everything that happened between you two, but it is sad to see. I think a lot of your fans and his fans would say that. Could you tell us where do things stand between you and Conor from a personal and a legal standpoint, because it has spilled into the courts, so to speak?
Yeah, unfortunately, obviously things are not good between me and Conor. As you said, we always had each other's back. I feel I showed him unmatched loyalty. I would dare for him to name anyone from all of his mates now, before, whenever, who was more loyal to him than I was. I did everything for him. Whenever we would do camps, I was the only one to never accept a cent from him. There would always be money paid to everybody that done the camps, and rightfully so, because it was hard work. But I would always turn it down and say, Conor, I'm not taking this. You're my brother, and I'm not taking, money for training for you. The agreement has always been that if I help him, with business, I help him make money, well, then he's going to give me my cut. And in the past, when I've done deals for him, like, for example, I've done a deal with him with Match TV. And he was based on our agreement, he was meant to pay me $6,000, and he actually paid me 20,000. He always looked after me. There's never been an issue, with money with us. And for this, deal as well, whiskey deal, it was so. This was such a massive deal for me, such an important, deal for me, because people think, oh, whiskey, what's whiskey? Just drink, but not at all. If you look historically, Irish whiskey has been such an important product for Ireland. Back in the day, they used to, during the Prohibition era, they would sell Irish whiskey to US in exchange for weapons so they could fight for their freedom. Imagine how notorious is that. And even back in the day also, when England was suppressing them all the time and destroying them, and they didn't have anything, but they never gave up, and whiskey was helping them fight that fight, because they had no medication here, no nothing. That's why it was called the water of life, because if you get a cut or something, you can die from infection, but you use whiskey, you disinfect yourself. Food poisoning, you drink a little whiskey, it will help with settle the stomach. If you got high fever, you spread whiskey all over you, and as it evaporates, it cools down the body. And also when they were sitting, around fire, no 800 years of war, no chance of winning this massive enemy, they would drink a little bit of whiskey, it would warm the heart, sing a few ballads, and get the power to continue the fight, to not give up and earn their freedom. So when I told this to Connor, he told me to go and see what can I get, and I did not leave a single stone unturned. At the time when I put the whiskey together, there was actually only 6 companies that were able to produce their own whiskey, and I could see the potential in it, because Irish whiskey sales were fast approaching Scotch whiskey sales. However, there was only 6 distilleries making Irish whiskey, and 144 distilleries making Scotch whiskey. So I could clearly see there was a massive, massive gap in the market, and most importantly, when I tried to do the whiskey at the time, despite being such a big gap, entry-level whiskeys did not perform well at all on the market. It was only the higher-level whiskeys, the top shelf, as you want to call them. So whenever I was approaching all these industry experts and different distilleries, they all pushed for Connor to do an expensive whiskey. However, I understood Connor's fan base. I understood that it needs to be entry-level whiskey, and it took a lot of convincing from my part to make sure that we do an entry-level whiskey. And what you get with entry-level whiskey is, number one, you get the volume, because entry-level whiskey is what gets used to in cocktails, in if you mixer, whiskey and coke or whatever, so you get the volume, and that's where the price of the company comes from. That's why right now it is valued at nearly $2 billion, and with the entry-level whiskey, it gives you an opportunity to build on that. If you release an expensive whiskey, you can never then release a cheaper one, say, oh, look, we have this cheap one. However, if you start entry-level, you can then release 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, and build it into standalone successful company. And that is exactly what happened, and it's unfortunate that this situation happened like this with me and Connor. I have a feeling that my personal opinion is that the manager had something to do there as well, because at the time they were trying to get Connor to sign this option. As we all know, that Connor does know the whiskey now, and I was very much against it, because what an option means is that if the whiskey fails, that means Connor gets nothing. If, however, is massive success as it is, his profits are limited to what the strike price is on the option. And I was so against that. I was like, why would he do that? That's a lose-lose situation for Connor. He's the A side in this. And I said, if we are going to sign an option, well, then let's at least do it for a market rate. Why is the strike price on the option below the market rate? Like, that makes no sense. Why do you want to agree right now, before it's even launched, to sell it in a few years' time below the market rate? Especially when we already had pre-orders for the whiskey before it even launched. So obviously I was fighting for every cent for Connor. I was so angry with Audi, for proposing this bad deal for Connor, and I feel that's where our relationship failed, and unfortunately, yes, I did get fucked over on this deal, even though Connor shook my hand and promised me 5% no matter what. But I guarantee you, I can't wait to be in court and show that Connor was actually proper fucked on this deal, and this is why I have to go to court. I cannot leave this like this. This is too big of a story to just let it die out in obscurity. I need to shine light on this and show who was a true and loyal friend and who was actually a snake.
And I appreciate that response. I appreciate the backstory as well. Thank you for that, Artem. Your perspective is appreciated. You're asking for 5%, right? That's what you want. Your 5% share.
Yeah, because
And what does that equal
you know,
to, in your opinion? Is it 6 million?
I think it's yes, I think 6.5 million or 7 million.
Euro,
The
yeah.
thing is, because now when I launched this, you know, I found a lot of stuff online, and there was actually a guy involved in this deal as well. He was the guy responsible for preparing the label for the bottle that was shown at the Mayweather fight. Sean Pierce, his name is. And this guy misspelled the word whiskey on it. So this guy can't even spell fucking whiskey. And now I know that that guy sued Audi. That guy got paid 4.5 million and said that he was promised another 5. So he sued Audi for another 5. So you're telling me that some lad that can't even spell whiskey was promised 10 million, but me, Connor's brother, the guy that brought this deal to the table, you know what I mean, and was always loyal, never took a cent from Connor, and he wouldn't pay me my share, you know, as was promised. I put the biggest piece of meat on Connor's table, and he wouldn't cut me a tiny little slice so my family could eat too.
And so I saw recently. Can you explain this to me? I'm not a legal expert. There was a ruling about 3 or so weeks ago where the court said you now have to pay for the legal cost because of a mistake in the date of when the interaction happened.
Yeah, no. So what happened was I found more evidence that I really wanted to submit that obviously was helping my case.
Yes.
Connor's team tried to block that evidence because it was too close to trial, you know, but so I had to go into court, and my lawyers had to fight his lawyers, and I was allowed to accept evidence because the judge could see that this is real evidence. This is not some fake stuff. This is real, and just unfortunate that I found it so close to the trial, you know. So I got a new trial date, but the costs I will reserve till trial, you know.
Okay.
So the costs, you know, I don't have to pay any costs until the trial.
And when does the trial commence?
December. 9th of December.
9th of December. Okay. And have there been any talks of settling out of court, trying to avoid going to trial?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Are you open to that?
You know, but for me, I won't listen. Money, whatever money. I want my recognition. You know, I'm listen, this whiskey never happens without Connor, of course. That's why it was made for him, you know. But I'm also one of the co-founders, you know, and that's what I want to show in this court. I want to show all my work, you know, the amount of work I had to do for this whiskey, you know, to go to market. It is just incredible. And I had some very unique know-how, you know, that, as I said to you, even industry experts, you know, didn't see the potential in entry-level whiskey, because at the time, any entry-level whiskey that was launched was flopping because Jameson was just taking up all the market share. But I could see, based on Connor's fans, I could see, you know, how he relates to the fans. I could see his marketing power, and I knew that entry-level whiskey was the way to go. And I was absolutely right. And it didn't really matter in the end, ultimately, which whiskey, you know, we went with, because if you recall, when it first launched, the whiskey got sold out immediately, and people were trading on eBay empty bottles of whiskey. So they just cared about Connor and his name and his image and everything else, not really so much what's inside the bottle.
All right, so would that suggest that you are not open to settling? You want this to go to court. You want to be vindicated.
Listen, there could be, but I would like some kind of acknowledgement,
Sure.
you know, like, listen, we can. I want, you know, because what really got, you know, if you recall, I was going to do a book, you know, I wanted to do a book because they literally just pushed me to the side, no recognition for me, no money, no nothing. So I just wanted to do a book and write in the book everything, you know, that kind of went on and how I did the deal and how it all happened. So then once I announced the book, Connor contacted me and she was just saying to me, oh, you had nothing to do with the whiskey. What the fuck have you even done? You know, just completely turned on me, telling me all these things that I've never heard from him before. You know, as you've seen the messages I shared before, he was so always kind to me and saying, Artem, you know, you're my brother. You always have my back with this whiskey and with this fight. You know, I'm going to look after you. So then he's telling me, you have nothing to do with this. You didn't do any of the whiskey. And I was like, hold on a second. This is all my work. My work is all over this. How can you say this? How can you do this to me? And I was still going to proceed with the book. However, when I met the lawyers to get some legal advice about the book, I was told straight away, listen, this book is never going to see, you know, the light of day. They're just going to his lawyers, and their lawyers are just gonna, bring you to court, and you'll be fighting. You're gonna spend an absolute fortune on legal fees, and the book is not gonna come out for many, many years, and they're just gonna basically destroy you. The only way for you to be able to do the book and be able to tell the full story of what actually happened is to go to trial in the high court, because all the evidence that I give there is going to be protected, and I will be able to do a book if I want to, or whatever else afterwards, So that's why I ended up in court.
Other than that conversation that you just spoke of, have you had any sort of interaction with Connor? Have there been any attempts to try to fix this just between the two of you, two old friends?
No, and that's another reason which tells me that he knows that, you know what I mean, that I'm in the right and he fucked me over, because he went on Twitter, slayed me, but never even sent one text or just a call saying, hey, what's going on? Let's sort it. Because he knows, what can he tell me? He knows I've done it. He knows how much work I've put in. He knows he shook my hand and promised me 5% no matter what. So that's why he never tried to contact me. He just went on Twitter and slayed me, you know what I mean, publicly. Tried to, basically bully me out of court or whatever else he was trying to do there with that. But he should know that I don't tap, and that's one of the reasons why he was such a good friend and why he respected me for those exact qualities, So how does he now expect me to just, back down here? And he himself was then giving out to me for kind of backing down against Khabib, and I said, listen, that was a mistake of mine, I will never allow that to happen again, and I stay by my word. So how did he want me to back down this time? No, I told him myself I would never back down again, and I'm sticking to my word, I have to fight till the end. I'm not a guy to tap.
And so going back to the training camp, going back to SBG, are there any sort of interactions with him? Has this caused any sort of rift for you at the gym?
No, I mean, at the gym, we just kind of, I train at the gym, I don't really see him at the gym, he's not really as much there. He's traveling, or, he trains at the house as well. He's got his own gym in the house,
Okay.
We don't really see, but, we don't really see each other, but it hasn't really created any issues in the gym. No, everyone just kind of, because listen, obviously everyone is his friend, but they're also all of my friends,
Sure.
and they know that I'm not a guy that, ever, was after money or whatever. Everybody knows that I'm a guy that never took a cent from him, that I always had his back. Even the situation with Khabib. Why did I end up in that situation? Because there was an interview in Russian, and they were asking me about some of the horrible stuff that Khabib said about Conor, and this was in Russian. I could have very easily just said something, nice and just, oh, whatever. Conor would have never seen it. It's in Russian, but not a chance. If you're my brother, I have your back, whether you see it or not. You never have to question my loyalty. I will never allow anybody to go at you, and that's what happened there, and I would do the same 100 times over, even after everything that's happened to me as a result, He had my back and I always had his.
A lot has obviously happened with Conor over the last few years, and he's making this push now to be elected, to be a part of the next elections in Ireland. What do you make of this?
Yeah. I mean, Conor was always after those kind of, crazy achievements, but in my mind, he needs to just stop all the messing, all the partying, get back in the gym and just get fit. Just real training, fuck all this, pretend training or whatever. Yeah, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, just to show I'm doing some training. No, let's do real fucking training. And to me, I think the way forward is grappling. He should start with grappling. Just grapple, because grappling is fun and it will get your body, your ligaments, everything ready for fight again. His body is not fight ready anymore. It's just all the ligaments, all the little muscles, everything in your body. It needs to be fight ready. And I think jiu-jitsu will allow you to do that in a safe environment, because jiu-jitsu is very safe in terms of injuries. It's fun, and to me, he should spend a few weeks first just grappling. Start with five fives, grappling 5 days a week, then build it up slowly up to 10 fives a day, and then from there, I guarantee you, once the fitness comes back to him, then he will start, the love for fighting will come back to him, and he will want to be in the gym, and he will want to add the sparring, he will want to add the wrestling and everything else. So that's what I would like to see him do, not fuck all these presidential runs and all. That can be done down the line, But right now, he just needs to get his mojo back, get his confidence back, remove the doubt, because doubt is only removed by action. Action of training hard, sparring the best guys out there. When I was there in his camp, that was always, there was not a chance Conor could have gotten away with being unfit. Not that I'm something special or whatever, but it's just because I was never going to take it easy with him, and he knew that. So once he enters to spar me, he has to be on point. He has to be in shape. So I hope to see him back in shape.
You know what's so fascinating about this, Artem? Even when you were talking about him getting back on track, you said the word "we." Even as you're talking about him here, and obviously there's a lot of people criticizing him, and he has given people reasons to criticize him. You take no shots at him. You don't hit him below the belt. It almost seems genuine in that you want to see him get back to his old self, or at least attempt to get back to his old self. Despite everything that's happened between you two, it doesn't feel like there's any real animosity from you to him, or at least you're doing a great job of not letting it show here, because I don't feel that. I feel genuine warmth from you as you talk about him, despite this legal battle that you've been involved in that's lasted a couple of years now.
Yeah, I feel that if this was Conor of before, the guy that I know, we wouldn't have fallen out, and now it's completely different Conor. I don't recognize him. Just even to remind you, when he fought Mendes for the belt, he messed up in the documentary. They didn't actually show the full truth, because he messed up his knee with training with Rory McDonald. I was there in Canada, when it happened, when Conor took him down and Rory jumped a scissor, sweep right on his knee, and the crack was so loud. I was there when Professor Elatrash rang us and said, Conor, you're not fighting. You need another year, potentially 2 years, and another surgery. And Conor just said, no, fuck this. I'm fighting, and put the phone down. We couldn't even train for the camp. He was just doing rehab the whole time. And then in the documentary, they show when his knee went. That's actually the second knee. That's actually the good knee that went. So his ACL was messed up on one knee. And as we were training, doing grappling with like 3 or 4 weeks left to the fight, he messed up his other knee. His MCL and meniscus went in his other knee. So now he was on no legs. He had 0 legs. He was on 1 leg and now suddenly on 0 legs. Then Mendes gets put in against, rather than Aldo, a wrestler. We couldn't wrestle at all in camp. So this was just the worst fight you could possibly imagine. And what does he do? I'm fighting. I don't give a fuck. And now what? The Conor, he didn't even make it to the press conference with the sore toe. That's not the same Conor. This is not the guy that I know. I want to see the old one back. You know what I mean? And then I feel everything would be sweet between us as well. And we could get, the band back together. I would love to see him come back, because I feel that if he was at 100%, we would be able to bring Khabib back as well. I think that Khabib would come back for that fight if Conor was 100% and fit and, making real, moves, making real fights. He would just need one fight, knock the guy out, and then the whole world will be, talking to Khabib and getting him to come back. And then we would do a real, comeback fight.
Something.
That would be a fight that for the ages. I know that fight bothers Conor, because he didn't train at all for that fight. Twice a week he was training for Khabib, and I tried to get him into Vegas. I said to him, Conor, come on, let's go to Vegas, man. We have to do it. Come on, brother. He said, no, fuck off. You just want to go on a holiday. He just didn't want to do it. He was in the wrong mindset. He was in a party mindset. He was training twice a week. That's it. So when I saw the fight, I was like, oh my God, if only you trained 4 times a week, you probably would have beaten him. But imagine him with full camp, the Conor that fought Alvarez, Imagine that Conor fighting Khabib. That's what I want to see.
2 last quick things, Artem. Brilliant stuff. Any interest in going back to bare knuckle? He's now a part of that as well.
Well, actually, funny you say this now, Ariel. There could be opportunity for me to come back for bare knuckle, but bare knuckle still owe me money. My fight with Paulie Malignaggi, I never got my pay-per-view money.
What?
What do
you mean?
Feldman announced that it made 200,000 pay-per-views, and he told me first, look, you have to wait for the pay-per-view, 8 months or whatever before we pay you. So I waited that. Then I was messaging. He was like, "Oh, Artem, yeah, sorry, we just forgot. We're gonna pay you." Then I finally got my legal team to contact him. And what he said to my legal team was, look, we love Artem, of course we're going to pay him. unfortunately, at this time, we're reinvesting all the money back into bare knuckle. We want to make it, as big as possible. We're really riding a good wave, so we need to continue reinvest. Once we're finally able to get some money out of it, of course, we're gonna pay him. So I'm waiting for this. I think Dave is a man of his word. I think he will pay me. It's about 300,000 that they owe me. It's not that big money, but it's pretty big. Once they settle that with me, of course, we can do a fight, no problem.
Okay, wow. And that was from what, 2019,
2019.
Geez. Do you think that they are going to settle it?
Well, that's what he said. I'm taking him by his word. When he was talking to me, he was like, "Yes, Artem, sorry." When I got my legal team to contact him, he said what I just told you.
Yeah,
They keep
yeah.
reinvesting money. He said, "I've put everything into this." And it's been. He says, "I've seen the results now, and I see that myself. They're doing good, and I understand what it takes to build the business." So I was like, "Okay, no problem. I will wait." Reinvest the money, but don't forget about me. I made a difference for that company. I definitely put them on the map. And this is something that we're agreeing on. It's in my contract, and I hope that Dave, is a man of his word and pays me my pay-per-view money.
October 3rd, Dubai. Finally, after all these years, Artem Lobov, the return against Zubaira Tukhugov. What is the message to Zubaira after all these years, Artem? What do you want to say to this man as you are getting ready to fight him?
Zubaira, I hope you're as brave in there as you are when there's a gang of you against one. I hope you bring the same energy. Let's not start the cuddle party. You know what I mean? I don't want to be cuddling around the cage, holding down. Let's fight. Mess up this face. Come on, this is bare knuckle king you're talking to here. I'm not afraid of punches. I'm not afraid of blood. So let's bleed. Let's have a proper fight. And look, if we get a real fight in, we shake hands afterwards. But it has to be a real fight.
Love it. Freaking love it. Welcome back, Artem. You're the man. They call you the GOAT. You are the freaking GOAT. Incredible stuff. Not doing those interviews for 3.5 years, you built up incredible energy. And you saved it all for this moment, and you knocked it out of the park, my friend. So happy to see you back. All the best to you. Good luck in training, and can't wait to see you in there on October 3rd. Thank you again, Artem. Really appreciate it, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Ariel. And watch out for me. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
Yeah, there he is. Artem Lobov. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. We got it. That's incredible stuff right there. What a surprise. I got to tell you, when I started the week, I didn't think that we'd be talking to Artem Lobov on a Tuesday afternoon at 3:45 about a fight happening in October against Zubaira Tukhugov, but here we are. Well done, Mike Hogan and PFL. Look, we got to give credit where it's due. There's going to be interest in this fight. It's a nice little fight to have on a card in Dubai. I don't hate it. It struck me while talking to Artem and going through the whole history. This is all pre-GC and MMA, right? Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
Stuff. No, I
don't. Yes, it is pre-GC. I was telling him
what a time, right?
About the GOAT.
Where is he? Where is he right now?
Don't worry about it.
What a time, though. Great to see Artem there.
Artem,
whiskers and all.
Yeah, the energy was high.
Yo, he was.
Beard looks great.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's up, man? Where are you there? They could have just said your mic wasn't working.
Things got to be done back here, man.
Yeah. All this is new to you, right?
Artem Lobov?
Just the history, 2018.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, the deep lore of it.
Yeah.
Deep lore.
Oh, my God. The choo-choo motherfuckers. I popped big for that.
Choo-choo motherfucker.
Fucking hell. What a guy. What a time. It took me back to those times. Like, man, I forgot about the Rory thing. I forgot about Rory injuring. Like, that's one of those things where I don't even know if anyone's ever asked Rory about that or Connor. Like, did they ever actually reveal that it was Rory? Probably. I mean, this is 10 years ago now.
Why did they call him the GOAT?
He's the freaking man. It was one of those internet things.
It's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, it was one of those internet things. And the thing was, in reality, like Connor and Kavanaugh in particular, like they bigged up. Remember there was one time, it might have been around the time that Connor was fighting Mendez, or at least in the immediate aftermath of the Mendez fight, and Artem was trying to get on a card short notice, and he joined us in the robe.
Yes.
He was playing from a hotel in Vegas because he was helping Connor, who I think was coaching the Ultimate Fighter against Uriah Faber at the time. Artem wasn't in the UFC just yet. And like, he was just such a great character, and they did a great job of bigging him up, and he was always around them. And that team was, from a popularity standpoint at an all-time high. And so people just enjoyed him. And how do you not love him? He's got that like Irish/Russian accent, which is very, I don't know, admirable. So great times.
Yeah,
well done.
He made me nostalgic because I feel like he's nostalgic, right?
Yes.
Like he is hopeful of this like Connor's return to form,
How about
almost,
that?
which is bizarre because he's
Yes.
suing him, but it seems like he's also still very clearly like a fan of the man and
Yes.
what he accomplished. But then, in his mind, he has this idea that like Connor is going to come back, get refocused, win a fight, and then it's Habib. He is very like optimistic about that part of it, and nostalgic about what Connor was able to do when he's describing like this guy who ruins his knee and then ruins his other knee, and he's going in there and beating Chad Mendes. Like you can feel the affinity, even though he is suing.
Which is very admirable. By the way, in case you're wondering, Zubaira's last fight was on February 11, 2023 on the Islam Makhachev versus Alex Volkanovski card.
I remember that one.
Lost via split decision.
Yep.
2?
It was someone making their debut. Elves Brenner? No.
Fucking hell, yes.
Ah,
That legit right there.
too good. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he wasn't looking at anything.
Oh, that's
I have up
wow.
some flag.
Great job.
Oh, yeah,
Incredible
UFC
job.
284. Perfect.
284, yes. And by the way, as I click on my little button here on Tapology, he was a huge favorite going into that fight.
I remember
minus
this.
625.
That's why I remember it, because my dumbass parlayed him up, I think.
But wasn't Brenner like getting his ass beat and then turned it around? Wasn't that the
It
story?
was
of
short
Split
notice.
decision.
It was a great scrap. Was that the one where Brenner like was all bloodied up?
I think so. Yeah,
he
and
was
then
supposed to
turned
fight Joel Alvarez on that card. And
Oof.
yeah.
He dodged one there.
Yes. All right, so great stuff there. Wish him all the best. That's October 3rd in Dubai. A couple things before we go. Hard Out 353. Do have the DAZN show coming up at 5. Xander Zayas, Sky Nicholson going to be joining us. Tomorrow's show is turning out to be an all-timer, my friends. Tomorrow's show. Do you want to hear who's on tomorrow's show, guys?
Yeah,
Sure
I'd love
do.
to, man.
We're going old school. The Dean Amin, Keith Jardine.
Whoa.
In studio. If you're an old school
in
fan,
studio.
in studio, the Dean Amin, Keith Jardine beat Chuck Liddell, UFC 76 knockout. What a time that was. In studio, now turned actor, the Dean Amin, Keith Jardine.
Unreal.
That's number one. You guys don't, I didn't even tell you, like you guys don't actually know who's on the show, right?
No clue.
Oh, okay. I thought you were playing this up.
No. You never told us.
Guest number 2, also joining us in studio, a man who's been involved in a little bit of controversy as of late. I still think future face of American boxing, Keyshawn Davis, going to be joining us in studio. A lot to discuss. Missed weight, had the incident backstage with his brothers. Keyshawn Davis coming in studio to clear the air on everything that happened in his last fight.
First time you talked to him since.
First time anyone's talked to him.
Yeah, he's been silent.
Yeah. Guest number 3, joining us not in studio, the reigning, defending UFC middleweight champion, the pride of South Africa, the one and only
Let's go.
Dricus Duplessis
Wow.
on the program.
Sick.
Incredible.
Joining us
Sick.
from Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, he's already there.
Is he there?
Yes,
Wow.
he's already there. He was at the Man United game a couple days ago at Soldier Field. And guest number 4.
Oh, there's a 4th.
Breaking news, Frank. 15 years ago, on this floor, in this building, there was a very memorable interview in August, I do believe, of 2010. Might have been July, but I do believe it was August of 2010, in which one of the most brilliant men that I've ever met in my entire life, one of the smartest, shrewdest, savviest men that I've ever met in my entire life, came into the studio to talk about a victory by one Brock Lesnar over Shane Carwin at UFC 116. He came in with a coffee mug, yay high, and sat down and shot on the entire business. WWE, TNA, ECW. 15 years later, back in this building, on this floor, the Oracle himself, the wise man, Paul Heyman, in studio tomorrow on the heels of SummerSlam, on the heels of Seth Rollins pulling off the ruse of the century on the heels of Brock Lesnar returning on Sunday night, on the heels of Monday Night Raw at Brooklyn. The great Paul Heyman in studio once again.
Massive.
Wow.
Just to go back over that, we got Paul Heyman in studio, Keith Jardine in studio, Keyshawn Davis Johnson?
Davis.
Just kidding. I'm only kidding. And then DDP from Chicago.
All-time day.
Banger.
All-time
Banger
day.
lineup.
Is it Wednesday yet? I need to drink my fluids. Time now for Super Chats before we go. Hard out, 354. Still Frank. Pick up the pace. Pick up the pace. Pick up the pace.
Ariel got Tapology to add leg reach. Get Tapology to add leg reach. It's provided by UFC, but they told me not enough orgs do it. It would greatly impact how we gauge matchups.
Okay. Well, they're watching because they've commented a few times on our breakdown of the rankings. So from your fingertips to their ears. What else?
Micah, we need you. Unc, I'd love more NFL talk. I root for the Bills as my distant second team. Go
Hell yeah.
Boys, go Bills, F the Chiefs, and F the Birds.
Don't love the boy stuff, but who's Micah, by the way?
Micah Parsons.
Oh, geez, again with this.
He requested a trade.
Yeah, he did. Bills, Hard Knocks tonight. Can't wait. HBO Max. We love the Bills around these parts, as you can see. James, let's figure it out. Actually, someone just sent me a tweet from Adam Schefter. Is it about James? Oh, no. It's just about Hard Knocks. Damn it. Okay, what else?
Do you think the location had to do with Herzog not stopping the Yaya fight with him being the hometown guy?
Oh, wow. What's that last part say?
Sincerely on air, Jordan's biggest hater.
Jesus. Didn't know that was possible.
It's not because I am.
Guy?
So I don't know how he could possibly.
It might be the same guy. It's a
I
good
actually
gimmick.
went back. It's a different guy. So
Wow. Wow.
I made it.
What was the other one?
He said if I didn't have any haters, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
If on air Jordan has no
That's
haters.
so good.
it
That's so
means
good.
something.
And by the way, never change on air Jordan's mic. It's just so perfect to his
I love when
contribution.
people comment on it and they're like, why does it sound like he's trying to land a 757?
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. We're at 10,000 feet and appreciate you choosing to fly with us. Anyway, going back to that, I've seen people say it. I don't think so. I think that's crazy. I mean, Jason Herzog is not some like Johnny-come-lately ref. Come on. So no. My opinion, no. What else?
I think a point system makes the most sense for rankings. Reward points for how you win and have point decay for too much inactivity.
Now we're getting into the PFL.
Yeah, it's complicated. Points, I'm out. But appreciate the super chat. What else?
Lastly, will there be challenge spoilers on this week's Boys in the Back?
Oh.
I can't watch it till Thursday night, so I gotta know ahead. Shout out to Ben the Bane, GOAT.
We haven't really discussed how we're going to handle that. I mean, you are going to watch the season.
It airs on Wednesdays, though, right?
I feel like we should have a 2 or 3 minute reaction.
I do think we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you are a watcher, you will have to skip the challenge section. But you know what we'll do? Ahead of that, we will go, spoiler alert.
Yeah, we'll give
We're
a
going to
big
talk about
warning.
the challenge. We'll give a warning, and then we'll go.
Need some sort
the
of
fuck
horn
is
for
we?
that.
Yeah, who the fuck is we?
Me and Connor.
Look at this. Look at this right here.
It's me and Rick.
It's me and
Look
Connor.
at this right here. You guys see this?
Yeah.
See that?
No,
How
what
it went
are
up?
you showing exactly?
Look at that. That's good.
It's just
I'm not sure what
That
you're showing.
that's incredibly impressive.
Are you supposed to be squeezing it and it pop out?
Is that it?
Because you're,
this what happened?
you're tossing it
Man,
up.
look at the athleticism. By the way, so you guys were talking about Boys in the Back. Is the real world back as well, or is it just this
the
challenge thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
It
that's
never
back.
left, by the way, the challenge.
yeah.
No, it's not back. It
People
never
still
left.
watch this.
Religiously. It is the best show that television has ever created.
Are you talking shit right now?
You see how it twists?
Okay.
How the ball twists?
No, I
Would you
actually
twist?
don't understand
I
what you're
don't-
doing.
I
For all
don't-
those
I'm
who are
still
just
not
now
sure.
tuning in, he's been doing this for the last 3 hours.
This is called a Schloiter.
That I know.
Schlitter.
A shlanta. A shlanta.
And this is how Randy Johnson throws.
Yeah.
This is how Tim Wakefield throws. Knuckleball.
Knuckler, yeah.
And this is how Pedro Martinez throws. I always used to love those like instructional videos where the pitcher's like, well, you put the two fingers here,
Yeah.
you put it over the seam here, and you really grip it. And they've got like
They
a
got
thing
the
in.
chew, yeah.
It's just there's something so cool about it. You guys agree?
Old school baseball is cool. There's something romantic about it.
Yeah.
I quite like it.
I do.
Steroids are cool.
I agree.
This week in baseball, I still love watching that. Back in the day, Sunday mornings. Dun, dun. You guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Feeling all right, man?
Mine was
Somehow I did.
my Sunday morning was the sports reporters.
Did they do that exercise that you were just doing with the?
Oh, they would
well?
show you this.
They do
They would
that?
show you that.
No, not that. But what about like
Oh, this?
popping it up? Yeah.
Hey, great show today. Artem Lobov, Bryan Battle, Andy Foster. Tomorrow will be cinema. At a show coming up on DAZN at 5. Back on Wednesday.